So we opened up our first store in January of 2008. The end of that month, we signed a lease for Rockefeller Center. And you know what happened in 2008?
Yeah.
The crash. So a couple months later, the crash happens, a few months later. And it was really like, how are we going to do this? And then my partner got sick. I've heard him say that he was dying. I mean, you're losing your nutrition. You can't hold food in. His body was just falling apart.
So I'm here today with my old friend Bobbie Lloyd, who most people know as the face behind Magnolia Bakery, the chief baking officer, correct?
Correct.
Chief baking officer for Magnolia Bakery. I know Bobbie as a kind soul who sort of took me under her wing very early on in my career and said, if you ever have any questions going forward, call me. And it was a real phone number. It was not she didn't give me the fake number. And you meant it. And because I called you and you said, come to the city, come to the bakery, check it out.
Yeah,
and
I met your daughter.
You met, yeah. And this is early on. You met my daughter in DC.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We'll tell that story. We'll tell that story. But most people say shit like that. Call, if you need anything, call me. And then they
don't follow
They
up.
don't mean it, and they're hoping you never call. You really meant it. So I want to say thank you. Fast forward now, that was 2014. We met on TLC.
Is that long ago?
Yeah, with Buddy. We were on with Buddy Velastro on Next Great Baker. Bobbie was a judge. I was a contestant, and I had been in the cake world for 3 years. I was so green, and but I've been in contact with you many times with many questions and sometimes just checking in. How's everything? Because we've been, as business owners, the pandemic happened and, a lot of stuff happened. So we would check in on each other. I reached out to ask Bobbie, and Bobbie decided, of course, she came to be on. Thank you, Bobbie.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
I'm a fan.
Yes, I am a fan. I am a fan as well. So it's a non-traditional sort of podcast. I have no questions written. It'll just be us having a conversation. And with you, I'm going to start just because there's a lot of stuff about you I don't know. So I want to start sort of chronologically and get sort of a snapshot of Bobbie Lloyd, the kid. Chicago? You grew up in Chicago. Chicago. The kid, when you started to have visions of yourself, when you were little, you said, what do I want to be? What do I want to be when I grow up? Like, what was your thing? What were you thinking? What direction were you going to go as a kid?
It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Every little girl thinks they want to be a ballerina, right? When they're like 4, right? I want to be a princess.
Yeah, and we all have to pay for ballet classes.
I was a bit of a bruiser. There was no way I was going to be a ballerina. But I love to cook. And one of the things that to this day I have such fond memories of was sitting on the counter with my grandmother and my great-grandmother playing with a piece of dough.
Right.
My great-grandma would hand me a piece of pie dough while she was rolling out pie dough.
What ethnicity are your grandmother?
So I'm as white can be, like white.
You came over
waspy.
on the Mayflower?
Yes, as a matter of fact, both sides of the family are like 300,
Pilgrims?
400 years,
Got
forever
it.
and ever and ever. You can trace it back to like the 1600s.
Not known for the finest cuisine, though.
No, except baking.
Yeah.
And my mother wasn't a good cook, but she was a really good baker. So, and that's partly why I also wanted to become a chef, because I didn't like food out of a box. And that was what we got at home, except for baking. Mom baked from scratch.
Got it.
Because she learned from her mother and then my great-grandmother.
But the meals were not
Everything
gourmet
out of a box
style.
now.
Yeah.
It's literally frozen food, canned food, box food.
Do you remember, was it a big deal? I don't know financially where your family was, but do you remember going out to restaurants as a kid? Was it like a huge deal for you?
It was rarely. My dad was a policeman. My mom was a secretary. And it was, you buy like a case of canned beans because they're on sale for $3 for the whole case.
Mm-hmm.
And you're eating canned beans for the next 2 months. And so my parents we never went without, but we also never had big aspirations to go to fancy restaurants and things like that.
Yeah, but it didn't even, I remember as a kid, it didn't even have to be a fancy restaurant. It was we were at a restaurant, and I remember even like the local Chinese restaurant, I don't know if they had this in Chicago at the Chinese restaurant, the poo-poo platter
would
come out.
Yeah.
It's almost sad that it doesn't they don't, you can't go get a poo-poo platter.
Well, I also like the crudité platters. Like you'd get those in a steakhouse.
Yes.
When I was a kid.
Yeah,
and my grandparents would take us to the steakhouse.
It was a big deal. It was a big deal to go to a restaurant. Your dad was a cop.
He was a cop.
You grew up in inner city or outside Chicago?
I was born in Chicago, but then when my brother's a year older, so when he was entering kindergarten, we moved back to my dad's hometown of Elgin. So Elgin is like 40 miles outside of Chicago Northwest.
Where was he a cop?
So in Elgin.
He was in Elgin.
So it was like a I would say small-ish town.
Got it.
So
everybody knew everybody?
Everybody knew, pretty much. You knew a lot of people.
Your mom stayed home?
She was a homemaker until I was 7 or 8, like 3rd grade, and she decided to go back to work full time.
Right.
So my mom was an executive secretary at a time when most moms were at home. Most of my friends, their moms were at home. And this is where I actually decided I wanted to cook. My mom met with my brother and I, because we were the older ones. My sister's 5 years younger. And she's like, you kids are going to have to help. Because in those days, you also walked home from school by yourself. So the school wasn't that far away. It was in our area. And so I was like, I'll cook. I'll prepare dinner. And so my mom put me in a YWCA, which is Young Women's Christian Association, like the YMCA.
Like a cooking class.
A cooking class, a 12-week cooking class called International Cooking. And it's still such an incredible memory for me because the first week we made cinnamon toast and hot chocolate. I was like, okay, I got this. I'm good.
I'm hooked.
But by the 12th week, they divided us into little groups, and my little group made paella. Now, we're in the Midwest. We're landlocked, right?
You were never having paella.
Was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And parents all came in. Each of the little girl groups had different foods that they made. And it was one of the coolest experiences ever.
And did the family appreciate this shift in flavor that these meals were like?
In fact, my mother, I remember to her dying day, she doesn't remember, but I said, oh, Mom, I remember it. You came to me and said, where did you learn to like that? Because we've never had it.
Right.
Things like liver.
Did you change everybody's palate? Though did they start?
No, not so much.
They didn't want any of it.
No, but I could cook my own food. So then fast forward to high school. I went to a high school where you had open campus, so you could schedule your hours. So I would go to school 7:30 to 12:30. I'd get out of school. I'd go home. I'd make my lunch, and then I'd go to work from 3 to 9.
Good student?
I was a good student.
Yeah.
I'm like very type A about certain things.
Yeah.
So I'm a rule follower. So I'd get home, and I would make my lunch and my dinner, because I'd be at work during dinner time. So from 3 to 9. So my mom wasn't home, so I had to make my own food.
Yeah, so I was a latchkey kid. My mom worked. My mom, when I got to junior high school, in the city, it was junior high school. Yeah. Now, on Long Island, they call it middle school.
Yeah,
so it's
I
was in junior high school. My mom went back to work. She was working in Manhattan, 57th and 5th. And I was a latchkey kid. I'm an only child.
Oh, wow.
So I would come home, and this philosophy of breakfast cereal is for any time. Yeah, I would come home and have
starving teenage boy.
I would have a giant bowl of Frosted Flakes or something.
My son did the same thing.
Yeah, or I remember Swanson's TV dinner. Remember the Swanson's TV dinner, and it had a little brownie in one little corner, corn, mashed potatoes, and then you'd have this Salisbury steak or some turkey and gravy. Yeah. And I would cook this thing. I wasn't cooking anything, but I would heat up these Swanson TV dinners. And I sort of
love that.
Became, I would sit and draw, listen to music, watch TV. And I sort of, it built the whole foundation for my whole creative. Wow. Yeah. Those years alone in the house. And I'm very comfortable by myself. I'm very comfortable.
And that's
alone.
Something you just said about it's really important for kids to have alone time. That's not negative alone time, but positive time to think.
Yeah, the overstimulation now. Some of these kids can't deal with the silence.
Yeah,
I crave it. So I have an event coming Sunday, and already I'm thinking in my head the lead up to this event has been really mental gymnastics. I have so many balls in the air trying to plan this event that I'm going to take a day or two for myself next week. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a day or two. I'm already romanticizing these 2 days where I'm like, I'm going to get this book. I'm going to download this podcast, and I'm going to get this to eat and get a good espresso. And I'm already romanticizing it. Some people, my wife is one of 5.
Wow.
She does not want to sit alone. She does not want to be by herself. She loves to be surrounded. And that's what sort of makes her the mom she is to my, you know, she wants my girls, or she wants people around the table. Not that I don't want people around, but I'm real.
Oh, I totally know what you mean.
I'm real good.
Wait, what sign are you?
Cancer.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very sensitive.
I'm Scorpio.
I don't know what any of that means.
Well, here's it. My husband is a Cancer, and I'm a Scorpio. When we started dating, he looked it up, and he said Cancer and Scorpios are the best union together of any relationship.
What makes it?
And I don't remember what it is.
Oh, I was going to say, what are the two characteristics
I don't
of each?
remember, but he always was like, yeah, we're meant to be together.
Yeah.
So, but that means like good friends. It works.
I get it, but I always laugh at people who tell me about they ask what sign, and I go, are you telling me everybody born between this date and this date is like we're all the same? There's no. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
Depends on your like moon rising. I don't know. I don't really understand it all myself, but I've had friends do my chart for me.
I don't laugh at anything.
I don't either.
The older I get, I don't laugh at anything.
Because there is some reality to it.
Things have happened in my life. Some crazy things where I go, maybe it is the moon and the water and the tide and
Mercury's in retrograde.
I have no idea. I'm not laughing at anybody anymore. So I just wanted to get that little snapshot of you as a kid, what your aspirations were, and where your relationship with food came. Do you go away to college? Do you go away to school?
I had to pave my own way to go to school, so the go away wasn't as what a normal kid would do.
Right.
My parents couldn't afford anything, so I went to like the local community college. I did that. Then I went to a junior college. I actually moved out.
Did you?
So I was in an apartment, but I was paying for that. I had 2 jobs. I was going to school.
Classic overachiever.
Yeah. But I had a really strange path because I think of myself as a serial entrepreneur just because of the way I approach things even as a kid. I was probably 6 or 7 years old when a friend and I decided that we were going to make money by selling bouquets of flowers to the men coming out of the YMCA, which was a block away from my house. And my dad went there every single day. He worked out, he took a shower there, a steam room. So I knew the Y really well. And I knew a lot of the dads, the men. So it was Mother's Day.
Who did you and your friend pitch this idea to each other?
So we pitched it to each other.
Did you tell any adults?
No, we did not. But first we had to get the product, the flowers.
Right.
So we got flowers, and I'll tell you where we got them in a moment. And we put them in our little wagon. We bundled them up. We took them over to the YMCA, and we started. I don't remember what we were selling them for, but we're going to sell them.
People were buying.
And men were buying them. And then my dad walks out, and my dad's like, "Where'd you get the flowers?" And I was like, "That house over there next to the church."
You cut the flowers down.
It was the house where the nuns live.
Like the rectory?
Yes, the rectory next to the church. We took all their tulips and lilacs. Hey, it was Mother's Day. We didn't know.
Did your dad make you go put the money back in the box at the church?
Oh, my good policeman father absolutely made me. But we had no idea. We thought that was such a great way to make money.
Yeah, well, you got your first taste of the side hustle. And
yeah.
You're going to school for what? What are you thinking about?
So I decided that I was going to be a businesswoman. I always put that in quotes, like a businesswoman.
Was there anybody in your family who you had seen take that path, female?
No, not at all.
How was your relationship through your childhood to this point with your family? Were you everybody's very close?
Everyone's very close. Yeah, my
parents
parents were wonderful.
Very encouraging. If you have an idea, or
my parents were funny people about like the encouraging. They didn't discourage, but they were more like, "You do you, bye."
Wow.
So I graduated high school, and it was like they moved out of my house I grew up in into a new house without a room for me. Now some people might go like, "Oh my God, woe is me." I was like, "Yeah, moving into my own apartment."
Trial by fire.
Yeah. So it was more of this. My sister and I have talked about it because it's this.
What about the young? You said one was 5 years young.
Sister, 5
so
years
what happened to her?
Well, she got a bedroom.
Oh, she had a room.
Yeah. But my brother was already out. It was just a 2-bedroom home they moved into.
You know who the favorite daughter is? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. She was blonde with green eyes. Still is. Wendy. No kidding. My sister's adorable. But it was very funny because I didn't look at it as woe is me. I looked at it as opportunity. So I had 2 jobs. I had a full-time, a part-time. I got into night school classes. I like night school because they're fast and over. So you could take 3 classes and get an entire semester of credits done very quickly. So I did that for a year and a half. Then I moved to Michigan and went to another school there. But I decided business was my route, and I didn't know what that meant because I didn't have any business people in my family, no
Right.
accountants, nobody that could have been an advisor or a mentor.
Yeah, there was Mary Tyler Moore on TV, but that was probably about it. There was not that many businesswoman TV shows or movies. Yeah.
So I thought business meant accounting classes because I did really well in high school and all of those kinds of courses,
Right.
all the computer programming and accounting classes. So I was like, okay, that's my path. That's what I'm going to do.
And no, just because it's where my brain goes, probably because how I'm wired, no anxiety, like as on your own at that age, nothing, like were you walking around, were you anxious about anything or did you just?
No, my memories are no, that I wasn't.
Yeah. You think you're romanticizing about the time?
No, but I remember a friend saying, because I moved a lot. So I went from Illinois to Michigan to Boston. I went to Boston.
Give me, you're how old at this point?
My late teens, early 20s.
Right. So my brain, it goes to all these kids go away to college for the first time and now they curl up in a fetal position.
Yeah.
They can't even, and they're at school. They're being taken care of.
And everything's paid for.
Yeah, I'm thinking about you probably on a bus, on a train, walking, going to work, coming home, whatever.
I had a little car,
Yeah.
but I'm not, for me, it was more like, okay, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's
Kind of go with the flow, ride with the tide has been one of my mantras my whole life.
I'm assuming you got jobs when you went for the job interview.
Yes.
Because you've stood, I could tell already.
Almost always.
You got the job.
Yeah.
You would walk in, I could tell your personality and
I think there's something else that's important too about got the job is I targeted what I wanted.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, let me look in the newspaper, see what's available. Is I got to target where I wanted to be and go to that place and tell them why they needed to hire me.
That's a skill. That's a skill most people develop much later on.
And I was lucky because in high school, my longest job I had was my best friend's mother had this is in the 70s, she had what was called Shirley's Slim and Trim Figure Salon. This was pre-aerobics, so it was Nautilus. I'm a little 16-year-old kid working in a studio.
Where is this?
This
in
is
Michigan?
in Elgin, Illinois.
In Elgin.
Teaching women how to exercise.
That's a very forward-thinking
Right?
woman to open
So
that.
she was a business owner. So
Yeah.
that was my friend. So, and she had 2 salons. And the interesting thing, I'm 16. She's letting me run the salon on my own on my shift from 3 to 9. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with mostly older women coming to do some kind of fitness. A lot of them were on diets, trying to do like the Atkins diet and lose weight. It was very structured. You had to follow all of the processes and systems and teach exercises to these people. It had to be exactly a very specific way. And I remember asking her one time, I was like, once a week, the women had to get measured because they're all on diets. And I said, what do I do? A measuring tape is 60 inches long.
If it's more?
I was like, what do I do if it doesn't fit? She goes, at that point,
Give them a refund. If it's
she goes, just, use your finger and add a couple inches to it. Because eventually they're going to lose that and they're going to be smaller. And then you'll know that, look, now the measuring tape actually closes on your hips. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm 16.
Yeah, what you learn, though, I'm sure you've learned it a ton of times. I'm learning it now. My daughter is my manager at my shop. The age really has nothing. The capability of the individual, if they're cut out for that position, really has nothing to do with the age. But I mean, 16 is a different kind of age. You think going in the room, when you walk in a room and you see 40-somethings, early, 50, oh, this is a highly qualified table of individuals. And then you sit for a few minutes and you go, these people are batshit crazy. What is even happening here? Yeah, but it's when you get around a young person who's impressive like that, like you probably were to these people, it's noticeable. It's like a unicorn walks in the room.
And they could read me and go, this kid's a rule follower.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to do what we tell her to do. And they were absolutely right.
As a business owner, it's all you're looking for an employee.
Yeah. I hired this kid once in my first bakery that I owned who, she was a high school kid. So I come in at the bakery and I'm looking at all the product, and you're supposed to have the tags out that show the name of the product and the price. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, why don't you have the tags out with the price? And she said, I love this so much from this kid. I wish I knew where she was today. She said, well, I look at the person and decide what they can afford. And if I think they can afford more, I charge them more.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of brilliant. And if I feel like, maybe they can't afford the whatever it was, $2, I'll lower the price by 50 cents.
Yeah, not good for the bottom line, but a very
And I said, well, I hope that you're always getting more of the more
Let's
like
get the rich
higher
people.
end
Let's get the
people
rich clientele in here. Yeah.
I was like,
You wish we could all run our businesses like that.
yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that we could price it for you.
Yeah.
The single mom who needs the cake for
Yeah.
a couple bucks.
There are people that do restaurants like that where it's pay what you can.
Yeah, Bon Jovi, because
Yeah,
he can.
He
do-
can.
John-
Exactly.
John
So
can
you
that.
don't do it because you need to make money.
Yeah.
It's pay what you can. And I love that concept.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had, and I'm sure you've had plenty of situations where people reach out to you and go, I mean, we're in the bakery business, like you're in the cake business. So I'll have a mom reach out to me on, now you're so accessible.
Yeah.
You're so accessible because years ago you couldn't reach out to the owner or the CEO. Like you weren't getting them.
Yep.
You were getting 9 people getting in your way. Now you can message me and then, you know, I get a woman go, I listened to your story. I've watched your podcast. I've watched you for years. I'm a single mom and my kid's sweet 16 is coming in. I can't get them a cake. You know we're going to help. Like there's not a chance.
Your heart goes out. It's like, oh.
I'm not going to not help. I would that over the message where they go, hi, I'm having this golf outing. We would like you to do cake for 400 people as a donation. And I go, you're having it at the most high-end golf. Yeah.
And each guy's probably paying $20,000 to play, you know, a round of 18 holes.
Yeah. And they want the cake for free. But you find your way, you get out of college. Do you go into a business career?
Well, actually, what I did was I was working in restaurants to put myself through
Are you
school.
close? You're close to you moved out, but you're close?
No, my parents are both gone.
No, then.
So, then, yeah.
When the family is still, you didn't take it personal that there was
Not
no
at all.
bedroom.
No, not at all. That's why I said I was super independent.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to do this. Okay, off I go.
Holidays were always.
Yeah, back home for Christmas, back home for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, were you cooking?
With mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my grandma.
All right. I'm just trying to get a vibe because that thing that you say very lightly and gave you superpower, that could have been baggage that's trauma that somebody could have carried.
It could be. And my sister and I have talked about it sometimes because she's 5 years younger. So she had almost a different upbringing than I did. My brother and I are a year apart. We're 15 months apart. So for us, it was like we experienced a lot of the exact same things. My parents were really young. My mother was 21 when she had me. So my parents were super young. All these experiences that we have a shared memory. For my sister being 5 years younger, we were gone.
That's a
when
big
she
deal
was
at
13.
that age. Yeah, that's a big deal.
So
So 13 on, she's alone. She's the only
alone.
kid.
For me, it was the super independence.
Where'd your brother go?
My brother's still in my hometown.
No, he just moved close. He was
moved
close.
Yep, he's still literally in the hometown.
There still.
Yeah, still there. His family's there. His kids are there. So they all kind of stayed in the
townie.
area. Yeah, exactly, a town.
And your little sister's where?
My sister lives in Maryland.
Got it.
So she married young, but her husband he's a stockbroker, and he got a job in Washington, D.C. area when they were young. So off they went. And that was a little scary for her because it was a big move. She was young, then she became a young mother. That was hard. For me, it was like, it doesn't affect anybody but me. I'm not in a relationship.
Right.
I'm alone. I can do my thing.
I don't like it. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'll move.
I can change if I don't like where I live. I can change. So I quit college in my 3rd year to go to culinary school. So I had a mentor who I worked for in a restaurant while putting myself through school, who kept saying to me, I was a waitress in his restaurant and then like the server manager, and he knew I loved to cook. I'd invited him to my house a couple of times for like meals that I made from Bon Appetit magazine. And he let me do the specials for lunch once a week. I would give him my ideas, and then I'd go in the kitchen in the morning, show the guys what the special was. And it was like, what an incredible opportunity. Somebody who believed in me. That's huge.
Yeah.
This was a man who was probably late 40s. He also taught marketing at University of Michigan. He had this really famous restaurant.
What kind of restaurant was it?
It was called Granny's Kitchen in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it was, what a weird name, right?
Like home-style cooking?
Home-style cooking, but he was such a marketing guru back then. So that was, I don't know, 1977, 78. He did a skillet breakfast, which is, like 2 eggs, sausage, pancakes, hash browns, whatever. It was $5.95. You can go to a diner today, like a cheap diner in the city, and probably get the same breakfast for $5.95. So he got top
Yeah,
dollar,
top dollar.
back then. And I made
What was it?
$600 a week in tips.
What made it that the people were willing to pay it? Was it just the atmosphere? It was a great place to
It was
go?
a very cool place.
Yeah.
You'd come in and there was a little general store in the front of it. He did like one of the marketing campaigns was he had one of these big old fashioned scales and little kids would get on it. If you're 12 and under, whatever your weight is, that is what you're paying for the kids' meal. They had milkshakes and a soda fountain, and they had a woman dressed up as a granny on a rocking chair on the weekends for brunch.
Yeah.
This place was packed. He was a brilliant marketing guy, and he just kept encouraging me. He goes, because he knew how hard it was for me to pay my own way to go to college. It was going to be like the 7-year plan if I kept this up before I was going to graduate. And he said, "You've got this. You should be in culinary school." And so I applied to culinary school in Boston, and I got in that fall.
You went to
And
Boston.
And I quit college, and off I went.
To Boston.
Unseen. Mm-hmm. I had a little Volkswagen.
Where was the school in Boston?
It was in Beacon Hill. It was called Chefs and Company.
Yeah.
And it was this little school, 12 students, and you cooked every night.
How many semesters was it?
It was a year.
1 year.
I gained 20 pounds because you cook for
And you
8 hours, and then you
eat.
eat like at 10 o'clock at night.
Did you get a job in the industry while you were
got
there
a
in a
job,
restaurant? Where'd
yep.
you get a job?
So I had 2 jobs, 2 different businesses. One was called Milk Street Cafe. I was a prep cook. And then another one I got on the weekend nights, because in the weekdays I was in school.
Right.
Weekend nights, I was a line cook at Back Bay Bistro on Boylston Street.
Yeah, my
in Boston.
daughter graduated not too long ago from Boston Conservatory, and she worked at Back Bay Social.
Wow.
And it's her fondest and most terrifying memories. Yeah, working in a Boston busy restaurant, which I didn't realize because I've only been a few times to Boston. Very international city. A lot of people, she would say, would come in and weren't from.
Oh yeah, because you have so many colleges there
Yeah.
too, and there's so much going on in that city.
And she said people that aren't from the United States don't
Yeah.
tip.
That is true.
They don't
Remember,
tip, and
I worked-
they don't know to tip.
Yeah, and I worked in the kitchen. That's why I had to have 2 jobs, because when I worked at Granny's Kitchen, remember this is 1977.
Mm-hmm.
I was making $600 a week in tips.
Oh my God,
I was loaded.
you were
I was seriously
you were rolling
loaded.
in it.
I
Yeah.
had a fancy car. I had a house. Like I was young and I was loaded, because that's a lot of money back then.
That's incredible.
And it was cash, because you didn't have to declare your tips in those days.
As you're going through the culinary school, are you questioning your decision at all, or are you loving it?
Not at all.
Loving it.
Loved, not only like loved it. I not only, so I work a morning job, a night job. I'm at school. On the weekends I'm working. Every free minute I have, I am cooking at home.
Right.
Every free minute I'm shopping in the North End in the little Italian neighborhood and checking out all the cool ingredients. I'm learning about cuisines and different cultures.
Is there a Magnolia in Boston?
There was, and there will be again, because we just sold a franchise there.
Did you really?
Yep.
Congratulations.
So,
I was just
yay.
curious. My daughter was there for 4 years, and I spent a lot of time there, and I didn't remember seeing.
It was a COVID death, unfortunately. It was in Faneuil Hall.
Got it.
So being in a mall, we had to shut down, and then we just could never really build it back.
Yeah. What is your thought? Do you remember what your thought is? I'm going to finish this year, and I'm going to go. Did you have a destination in mind, or you just going to?
I did.
Yeah.
So my original thought was that I would go to this school and take this course, and it was based on the principles of French cooking. So just like you learn the basics, you learn how to saute and grill and bake and do all the different roast and
Right.
every little aspect of cooking. And then I wanted to go to France. Like a lot of people in culinary school, I was going to spend maybe a year and go to France. But in culinary school, I met the woman who became my future business partner. And we both had a dream to open a restaurant someday. So having that dream to own, because I shouldn't say I didn't like having a boss, but we both had so many ideas. We wanted to do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took us a few years, but we wanted to own our own restaurant. And so I did a quick pivot and went a different direction. I still to this day wish I had gone to France for a year, because you kind of don't get that back later on in life. Life takes over.
Yeah. Is this the person you opened the first restaurant with?
Person who opened my first restaurant
The
with.
name of your first restaurant was
It was
what?
called American Accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
American Accent. Where was the location?
It was in Brookline Village, which is like a section of Boston.
Right.
So, because Boston's weird, you know how it kind of goes around and there's no defined straight lines anywhere in Boston. So Brookline Village was a cute little neighborhood. We were right across the street from Brookline Town Hall. The idea of American accent was that if it's on the table, we're making it, except for alcohol and wine. So we made all of our own pastries, all of our own bread, desserts, ice cream.
Everything you guys
ketchup,
were.
mustard, sauces. I mean, you name it, we made it.
Where did you two, so you're both in your early 20s, I'm assuming. How old?
We were in our early 20s.
She was the same age?
Yeah, she's a year younger than me.
Where does the nerve to sign a lease, like where does and who's letting you sign a lease at that point? What landlord?
So the first thing we had to do was put a business plan together.
Right.
Right. So my boyfriend at the time was a partner at the accounting firm Arthur Anderson. And you
were an overachiever in all aspects,
and
Bobbie Lloyd.
Like 5 years
you
older.
You were aiming high. You were aiming high everywhere.
And people didn't have computers at home back then. So I would go into the office with him on the weekends, and he taught me how to use the computers, how to put together, that was Lotus, it was even before Excel, how to do a spreadsheet, and I kind of knew because all my accounting courses that I had taken in college, and put a business plan together.
Pitched it to the bank?
Pitched it to the SBA. So we got an approved SBA loan, Small Business Administration
people
loan.
So that's what year?
1982 or 83.
They're giving those loans out back then. Back then it was not, it was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you could get.
I think it was the Reagan administration. It was, and women were considered minorities. So we're like, you're women trying to do a business.
Yeah, it was
young.
It was definitely Reagan, I think, became president in 1980.
Okay.
So it was definitely Reagan. But you could get a small business loan back then.
So we got a loan for $120,000.
I was going to say, do you remember how much?
Yeah, because I have to look it up. Like, what would that be in today's dollars? So $120,000. We had to match it with investment. So we had to go out and find people willing to give us, $10,000
Did
here,
you go friends and family?
There.
What did you do?
Mostly friends and family. A couple other people that we kind of knew through the world. So that took a while.
You found a space. What did it look like inside? Was it an existing restaurant?
It wasn't the first. Well, the first space that we found, which was the perfect spot. The landlord wanted us to agree that they could basically take eminent domain if they had to change something. And we're like, we're not putting this much money into this space.
You take it back.
Yeah. So we negotiated that thing for like a year. And the lesson I learned with that was do not get emotionally attached to a space. Because we were emotionally attached. We put everything into like, we're going to make this work at all costs, no matter what. And it was like, nope, you got to stop.
Yeah. What you end up realizing is, the space is what it is because you're there.
Yep.
You make it. You get all tied up in the location, the corner it's on, the windows, and it's becomes what it is because you and your friend made it that way. You could have went anywhere, and it would have. Which
is what we did.
Right.
So we found a really cool spot, and like less than a mile away from.
Do you remember what the monthly nut was? What was the rent back then? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It wasn't a lot of money.
I'm just curious.
I bet I have the records because I've kept some things from the year. I actually kept the original prospectus that we gave to the bank because we were being very clever.
Did you get the first bank you went? You got it. You got it.
Yeah, because it's guaranteed by SBA.
Oh, right.
So that's how it goes through. But we were being very clever. We named our corporate name was Novantique Enterprises Limited. Novantique, old and new.
Yeah.
New and old.
You open and you have turnover right away. You're turning these tables over.
Super insanely busy. We're
Is it a business area or you'd have dinner?
We did lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner.
So there was enough people in the community. We did lunch and dinner, brunch on the weekends. It's crazy busy. We have the retail bakery up at the front because we figured we're making everything for the table anyway. We might as well do a little retail bakery. We made two mistakes. One was we opened with zero money in the bank. That's not good.
That's not going to work in the food.
Because one thing goes wrong and you're dead. Basically, you're dead.
Or a couple of slow weeks, or you're not even making pay.
We had a problem right away with the air conditioning, and we had to suddenly go find $25,000.
How long did you stay open?
We were open not quite 2 years. Critically acclaimed, have wonderful, fabulous reviews, great recipe. Like, people loved us. We were just cash poor.
Were you finding the whole 2 years the water was right? The whole time you were just keeping your nose above?
Constantly. We didn't pay ourselves.
It's a horrible feeling,
I lived with a friend for free. My boyfriend and I, when we talk about like the quitting, like someone quit me.
Yeah.
Because the boyfriend said, "This is not what I signed up
I didn't,
for."
yeah, you were a winner when I met.
He said, "I never see you
Yeah.
ever, like literally never." Weeks went by, we wouldn't see each other because I would go early, get home late. I would be exhausted.
Yeah,
I was
down,
working 7
sleep.
days a week. I wasn't paying myself. It was like, this is not sustainable.
Yeah, that sounds crazy, but that every restaurant owner out there is going, yeah, no shit.
It.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then my business partner, she was married, and her husband was in the finance world, so she was fine.
okay.
She was fine, and it was very, very challenging.
Did you find one was pulling more weight than the other one, or you both were fully invested in the thing?
She was pulling more weight than me in terms of decisions about the finances because her family had invested more than me. I was just me.
Did you trust her? Did you?
Yeah.
You trusted her decisions?
Yeah, we trusted each other very much. She was a fantastic chef, a really incredible chef.
How soon into so you were open 2 years, but at what point into the 2 years where you started saying we're gonna have to close? Like,
Honestly, not until towards the end.
Really?
It just became like a steal from Peter to pay Paul. And I was the one handling all the books and the payments, and it was just getting harder and harder. And I was, spreading vendors out to 60 days, and it was getting harder. Then it was like, okay, there's no place else to take money from. Like one big bill.
You locked the door. You got heavy debt.
We had, other than the SBA loan, which was, guaranteed. It was a bank loan guaranteed by
Besides
the SBA.
that,
there was no debt.
You were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not usually the case.
Yeah. So, but our investors lost their money, which is,
not,
and we
not
did go out for a
feeling.
capital call, and we were hoping to get a little more investment. And they said,
yeah,
we're good. And it was critically acclaimed, and that was the sad part, is that we had this restaurant that people absolutely loved.
Are you the type of person who that sort of event happening in your life, are you affected deeply by that? Do you have a hangover from that, or you're right back? I got to figure out what's next. Enough of that. I got to move right on.
A
to the
little
next
bit of both, because remember, I'm by myself. I have to support myself. And while we were going through, we had to file bankruptcy to protect the lease. So now we've filed bankruptcy. If we don't do it, the landlord's taking the lease from us. So we got to have something to sell besides the equipment and things like that. But the lease was the asset. And during about 3 months, I'm dealing with a broker to help us sell the business. And the broker comes to me and he said, "Hey, I took the liberty of sending your resume to someone, and they want to interview you."
the business broker,
real estate broker, was also a headhunter.
Was it a friend of yours, or he was just looking for? He wanted to get that piece, get you a job, and he'll get his cut.
Which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
And he's a broker in Boston.
He's a broker in Boston, but he apparently was also a headhunter.
Gotcha.
So he said, "I send your resume to someone, they want to interview you. Sit down, don't tell anyone, make sure there's no one in the room, do not react." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Because it's highly confidential." I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "It's Calvin Klein." And I was like, "Huh?"
Calvin Klein's looking for a personal chef.
Private personal chef for his Hamptons house for the summer, 6-month gig.
Oh, so you're doing the contract just for the summer.
Yep.
So you're going to relocate to the Hamptons
Yeah.
if you get it.
So we closed our business in January, and this must have been like February, March. And he said, they want to meet you, fly to New York Friday, meet with Calvin and his wife, Kelly, and their VP, Paul, I can't remember his name. I did a round of interviews, met with all of them individually.
In the city.
I flew to New York, met with them in the city. It was like one by one, probably spent 4 hours in the office.
So we're talking about, this is prime time Calvin Klein.
This is prime time Calvin Klein.
He is Mark Wahlberg in his underwear in Times Square, Calvin Klein. Yeah, this is
1987.
Yeah, this is a huge deal.
So they hired me on the spot. And
did you cook?
I didn't even cook for them. I brought my portfolio of menus and all of our reviews. And I said, could I have a few days to think about this? Well, we need to know by next Friday. So this was Friday to Friday. Because they wanted me to start Mother's Day. They would put me up in the city, and then it was going to be until October 15th. Because they do the shoulder months out in the Hamptons. So I was like, okay. So Monday I called them and said, I need health insurance. Okay. Moving expenses. Okay. I need to store my stuff. Okay. Like every single thing I asked for, they said, okay.
They gave it
still have not had my food. The first meal I cooked for them was on Mother's Day at Calvin's apartment.
In the city.
In the city. So it started in the city for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
So you move out to the Hamptons?
So then I move out to the Hamptons, and they have the property they were actually renting at that time. So it was a big house that they were in, a guest house, and then a cottage. So I was in the cottage.
They gave you the cottage.
So, and it was like a studio. So a one-room cottage with a bathroom, no kitchen in it. And
this is a movie.
This is a movie.
This is really a screenplay.
The way they moved me out to the Hamptons, because now I'm staying in an apartment in the city and I've put my stuff in storage. I just need my clothes and my bicycle and my sports things because I had my golf clubs, my tennis racket, like all my stuff. A limo.
They move you.
That's how I moved to the Hamptons, in a limo.
It's a movie.
Because that's what people do.
You're in a movie.
Yeah.
It's just my personality and where my brain goes. All I'm thinking about right now is how intense my imposter syndrome would be sitting. Like, I don't know if you suffer from that.
Very much so.
Yeah. All I'm thinking is,
how did I get
how
here?
are you handle? Like, I'm going, at that age, you never cooked for them. The whole limo ride, you're like, where am I even going?
Well, no, the first day I cooked for them at the apartment, it was, I think, Kelly's parents or mother, his wife at the time, Calvin, his daughter, Marcy. I don't remember, maybe 10 people. And I was an absolute nervous wreck because they had not had my food yet.
Did you have a staff with you?
So there was, they had 2 sets of Wongs. They had Mr. and Mrs. Wong in the city and Mr. and Mrs. Wong in the country. So the butler and maid in the city were helping serve and clean. Lovely people. Like, everyone was so lovely, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin was lovely. His wife was lovely. Everyone was lovely. And so they made me feel really comfortable. And even when we went to the Hamptons, Kelly came out because they're renting a house, so everything is in storage. So Kelly came out the week early with me, and everything came out of storage, and we had to set up the kitchen and go and buy all this stuff. And she drove me around and said, this is where we get our chicken. This is where we buy the meat. This is the vegetable person. This is the fishmonger. So I would know, like, all the vendors that they really liked. Here's where we have accounts. So they really made me feel comfortable, but I had a stomach ache for 6 months.
I'm sure. Did you travel with them at all during the summer? Did they go anywhere and wanted you to?
Nope.
Come?
Actually, the only thing that I did, 2 things I did for them that were not at the house. One was the Polo Grounds out in Bridgehampton. So they had a big table there, and so I catered that meal for them. So I think we hired some extra staff to do that because that was a lot for me to do. And another one was just Calvin and Kelly alone when they celebrated their anniversary.
It goes well, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It was great. Did they invite you back the following summer?
No, it was, I didn't want to. It was a 6-month contract.
No, I was just curious if they reached back out.
They knew what my goals
what your plan was.
Yeah, so this got me to New York.
You were a flight risk the whole time. They knew.
I actually, because I don't just stop at one thing.
Yeah.
So my former boss, my mentor,
did
from
you love the
Granny
Hamptons?
Kitchen, it was beautiful. I didn't know anybody, and I worked mostly in the evening, so it was hard to meet people. So most of the people I met were the people who worked at the vendors that I went to.
Those are your people had conversation with all day.
The meat guy, the fish guy.
It's a unique existence, a personal chef for.
Yeah, because you're alone.
Yeah, and if they want something to eat now, like we're on our way.
Yes.
With 5 people.
Yep.
Yeah,
the other thing, like, they loved my baking. So Kelly always wanted me to have fresh chocolate chunk cookies in the house. I had fresh French bread because they loved my bread. And one thing that was really great for me because I was alone, it was a big kitchen. It was electric, so I didn't love that part of it. But electric oven is fine. But I decided I was going to use that time to really develop the craft of certain things like pie making. I'd baked pies my whole life, but I was going to make a pie every single day if that's what it took to get down to the absolute perfect every single pie recipe. And so I made pies constantly.
Yeah.
So they loved it because people would come in the house.
There was always a fresh
There was
pastry
always a
around.
big table filled with awesome stuff.
Yeah. That's a unique.
Yeah. It was a great opportunity.
It
was lonely.
A great chapter.
I wasn't allowed to have anybody on the property. So it was
Never.
Never.
Yeah,
never. No one on the property. So it was lonely in that respect. But they called me one night at 11 o'clock. They had some very famous guests who Carolina Herrera is a big fancy couture designer. It was her and her family and her husband and children. And they were all up at the house. They asked me to come up and they wanted to chat about doing a party tomorrow night. So for Saturday night, they wanted to invite 50 people. And I said, I can't do that by myself. Like, this is too much food. Well, we're all going to help. And, you're thinking like you said, when I said, give me a call, like, sure, anytime.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to help.
So I got up, I made a list of all the things we were going to do, all the food, like chicken. They wanted lobsters on the grill. And you know what that means, right? When you do lobsters on the grill.
I don't. What does that mean?
Oh, you ever done a lobster on the grill?
I've never cooked a lobster on the grill.
You got to stab a knife in it and kill it live. Then you put it on the grill.
Got it.
So it's a little like queasy for some people, not for me being a chef. But all these things they wanted me to do. And I said, look, I don't have time to bake, so I'm going to have to go buy everything for tomorrow. So I got on the phone first thing in the morning ordering booze and the chicken guy, the meat guy, like everything. I ordered 3 more grills. Everything's being delivered. By noon, we've got everything coming to the house. Everyone had a station, and everyone did their job.
They stepped up.
They stepped up. Calvin worked a grill. Carolina's husband worked a grill. They were shucking corn. Everybody was doing their part.
Yeah,
and
this was
a fabulous
this was help
party.
you couldn't afford. You couldn't afford this help if you had to hire them.
I think they really wanted it to feel like this is our party at our house. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. Wong were there, just cleaning up and helping. But there were no bartenders. There were no servers. It was just.
Did you
this
stay?
was home.
Did you keep a relationship with with Calvin
You know what?
after? Or
Not Calvin, but I would see Kelly every now and then. I haven't seen her in years.
no? But I'm saying the years following that had to be a cool.
No, we didn't stay in touch.
I'm thinking you becoming who you were. That's a cool story for now.
Yeah.
For her to go, do you know who our chef was in the Hamptons? You know,
I need to write her a
the
letter and
chief
tell her
baking
that.
officer.
And Calvin. And they were honest to God, like Calvin was so kind and generous in spirit
yeah.
and really like a nice human being.
But that was it. You that wasn't something you would consider after that.
No.
You know, I'm going to
But
be a private chef now.
I also knew my place. Like, this is Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that.
Rarefied air,
like,
that job.
Like, don't show your face when you shouldn't show your face. Like, I'm in this room, I'm in the kitchen, you be there, you're here, but
Again, where my brain is going, anyone you met over that summer in the Hamptons who you ended up down the line,
no.
where it ended up being a relationship you really?
I didn't because I didn't meet people.
Really? You
I
didn't meet
did-
anybody?
Not really, because I was working. And here's what I was going to say. I had a second job because, of course, me.
You had a second job in the Hamptons?
No, I had a consulting job with my original mentor from Granny's Kitchen to do a concept in Chicago called Tap and Growler. And it was going to be the first brew pub opening in Chicago since Prohibition. It had been outlawed.
Right.
So it was the first one that was going to be opening. And he was a brilliant guy.
You were a consultant on that?
He created a company called Gruner, Pressner, Lloyd and Associates. And so it was him. Pressner was like his administrative assistant and did a little bit of everything. Me as the chef. And then there were design consultants and there were equipment consultants. So he'd bring in all these different people to assist in getting this business open.
So on your downtime in the Hamptons, you're working on this concept?
So I'm working on the concept, and it was very meat heavy because it's a tap and growler. You know, growlers are the bigger things. It was meant to be kind of old fashioned in style, so heavy food, like big, braised and roasted meats.
Did
and
it come to
steaks.
fruition?
It did. Yes.
Yeah.
Had great reviews when it opened, but I was a consultant, so my job was to create the menu, develop the concept, get all the pictures and everything done, hire the chef, help hire the crew, get the store open, and then bye. It's all yours.
Are you becoming a name? Are people starting to know who you are? Because it sounds like people are reaching out to you.
I think at that time it was the former restaurant owner, private chef to Calvin Klein, consultant, and also John Gruner, who was my former boss. Again, he had come to my restaurant. He and his wife had come to my restaurant in Boston, American accent, and was like beyond impressed with what we did. And it's weird to say you're humble because it sounds like you're bragging that you're humble, but I don't mean it in that way where I didn't see, even though it was my restaurant and I knew that we had these great reviews and people loved it, I didn't see it the way he did.
Yeah.
He saw it as this, like, my child has done this. because to him, he probably could have been
That's
my
a nice
father.
characteristic, though, to have.
It meant so much that my mentor came to my restaurant and felt that it was truly like spectacular.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, this is what I do every day.
Did your parents eat at your restaurant?
They came once.
One time.
They came to Boston.
Were they
They were
impressed,
they
blown
were
away,
impressed.
or very mild-mannered people, or?
They didn't come to my grand opening.
No.
They didn't. And I invited them, and I was hoping they would come, but they came when they had planned a trip to the East Coast. And my dad loved motorcycles, so they would do these motorcycle trips across country. So they did a little pop into Boston. And my mother was like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah,
it
you were
was
such
like
a big deal.
This.
Yeah, you have a certain
Whoa.
amount. You have a certain amount of Teflon to you, Bobbie
think
Lloyd.
that might
You have
be
a certain
it.
amount of Teflon because you're saying things that I've had conversations with other people where your business opening, parents not coming to the grand opening, that's baggage people carry for. They don't ever.
Could be. It wasn't for me.
No, but
Yeah.
that's a unique quality to have, and I'm sure that's probably what's kept you just rolling along on your way. You're not being held down. Yeah,
They
because
didn't do it in a way like, we're not coming to your opening.
no,
It was
however
just-
they
yeah,
did it, some
just they
people
couldn't
will
come.
take it as
My parents.
my
had come.
parents are not coming to the opening
Yeah.
because you want to make your parent. We all want to make our parents proud, and we
I
want.
sent them all the photos.
Yeah.
afterwards.
But that's a very admirable quality you have because you're saying things where
It's
I
either
go.
that or I'm crazy.
I think I'd be devastated if my mom didn't come. I'd be like devastated because for me, I'm an only child,
Yeah.
and my biological father left when I was 5.
Oh, wow.
And I never saw him again. So my mom's opinion of things was, yeah, I need my mom to look at it and go,
Yeah.
or, most times, because most times I was not making, I was telling my mom I'm going to be touring the world. I was a drummer. I chased a record deal for a long time. So I was a kid. I grew up in the city, playing the Limelight, the Cat Club.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. The
I
hair
love
was,
them.
yeah. But
awesome.
when you tell your mom, and when people would say to you, what if I understand your band is going to take over the planet. What if it doesn't? And I would go, no, we're definitely going to be, we're going to get a record deal and we're going to go on tour and we're going to go. So I was never telling my mother I was going to be a CPA or an accountant, or I was always throwing shit at her where she would be like, Jesus Christ. Okay, you're going to be a drummer. And then,
So you have to go for the dream at the full extent of the dream.
Well, I have that thing that you have where you let things
Yeah.
roll off your back. I have that thing where I go, I have to do this thing I'm interested in. I cannot not.
Yeah.
I almost have, I've spoken about it with a few people before where they talk about attention deficit, right? All these kids have attention deficit. And I definitely, if I would have if they would have paid attention to me, I would have gotten diagnosed because I talked to friends from high school. I went to all boys Catholic high school, jacket and tie,
Yeah.
all boys. They will mention teachers from high school and I'll go, I don't remember that guy. They go, we had him for a full year. And I go, I don't remember. and it's not for any other reason.
You weren't paying attention.
What they were
Yeah.
selling, I was not
Yeah.
interested in.
Wow.
I just they couldn't keep my attention and it wasn't their fault. But you get me in an art class, you get me in a creative, it's all I could concentrate on.
So my son is ADHD, and I think this is a really important segue to what you're saying
Yeah.
too. Is I read stuff constantly about ADHD. I consider it a superpower.
It was my superpower.
And part of it, people think ADHD means that you can't pay attention to anything. No, it doesn't.
No.
It means you will hyper focus on the things that you like and that means something to you.
Yeah, I'm not
but
gonna-
You have to do it in your way.
I'm not wasting my minutes
Yeah.
on something I'm not interested in.
Yep.
It's basically what it is.
Yeah.
That thing, I'm not interested and I'm not
Like, why bother?
I'm not going to dedicate my minutes to it. The real issue now is, and I as a dad and as a kid who really the traditional school was not built for a kid like me. I was music, art, anything creative was the only thing I was interested in. Like the fact that we all go into this grade together and we're all at different levels of learning, different levels of capacity to learn, to absorb.
and different ways to learn.
And our interest levels are on all
Yeah.
different, but we're all going to sit next to each other and we're going to all learn the same way. and get graded the same way. It's a system I hope in the future, because they're starting now to realize this kid should not be in this class. He's too the reason he's not paying attention is he's too advanced.
My son used to say I'm bored all the time.
Yeah, me too. I'm bored.
And that's why I liked night school and the summer school.
Yeah, you
because
could
classes
fast track.
were boring and just I want to fast track it. Summer school, 3 weeks, you're done.
And I think to myself, what did I miss? Because all my friends, I talk to them, they're talking about these great times, and I'm like, man, I can't believe I didn't pay attention. But there are like benchmark moments.
Do they actually remind you of things that you did?
No, things I did, I remember.
Okay.
But they'll be like, remember that day, the teacher? And I'll be like, I don't even remember that guy. No. I remember traumatic things that happened, like getting in, when we got in trouble. You know, it was all brother. The teachers were all brothers. Yeah. So, and we were all boys. They didn't, like, it was all bets are off. There was no rule. Like, you could be standing at your locker and get hit in that. Like, they'd be walking by if you were talking a certain way. I love it now when I think back about it fondly. I hated it when I was there. I love the friends I made there. But I think to myself, imagine if I was in a school that taught me focus on your art, focus on your music, focus on what really you're passionate about. And it's really all I preach now to my kids, to my friends, to everybody, even to my adult friends who, you know, I have some adult friends, heavy hitting friends, salary, like real money. And they're dead inside from their job. They can't even, they're miserable. They go to this office.
They do the grind every day.
They count the minutes. They're on a train from wherever they're coming from, and they're checked out, and they hate it. But you're at this point now, 2 kids in college, and this is what I've done. Now you're 50, whatever. Yeah. Nobody's hiring. What are you going to do? That's what they say to me. What am I going to do at this point? I go, anything else. Yeah. Anything else. Yeah. Because how many minutes do we get on this planet, Bobbie Lloyd? We don't get a very long time here. You happen to be a human that it's evident has loved accidentally just finding all these paths. Me too. I mean, I could not be happier with where I've ended up. There was a point in between that and this where it was dark, like real dark for me, trying to convince the universe that this thing I had in my mind was going to really happen. You were doing it in your 20s. I didn't make my first cake till I was in my early 40s. Wow. And I had a career and I had a house and I had 2 kids, and now I'm going to chase this thing. It led to, I had never really suffered from real depression, anxiety, panic attacks. There's a 8 to 10 year stretch. Wow. You know, mortgage payments are not getting made, and
it's scary.
Right, but when it's just you in an apartment and you're in your 20s, you're like, all right, I'll figure it out.
If it doesn't work, I'll figure something out. Sleep on the sofa.
My kids now are in their early teens. We were used to going away 5 weeks a year. We're going here, we're going there. We have a place in Florida, and you know, we're going to timeshare and Disney, and then we went 9 years. We didn't go on a single vacation.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, nobody in my family blinked one time. Like, they didn't. Usually you could be like, what are you doing? This sucks. Our life sucks. Like, nobody blinked. They kind of saw, Dad's really got to try and make, like, he's not going back. Because I was telling everybody, I'm not going back.
What made you decide to just make a cake one day?
Well, the story is, Meredith, who was on the show with me, early on, she was the nanny. She took care of my kids. Oh. Me and my wife worked. Yeah. She was our nanny, and she was the cake lady. She would make cakes for everybody, Meredith. My kids got old enough. They were in school. We didn't need a nanny anymore. She became a teacher, but she stayed part of the family, and she would make cakes for people. She called me one day, March 4th, 2010. She called me and said, I need you to help me tomorrow on a cake. I had never.
And you're like, I don't know how to do that.
No, I wasn't even a thing on my radar, but
Wow.
I would sculpt, paint.
Yeah.
It was my thing. I was an artist. You know, my entire life I was an artist, graffiti kid. She said, you'll be good at it. You'll be good at it. Don't worry. I'll bring everything to your house and you'll be good at it. And it was a King Tut cake.
Whoa.
Right?
So just a different medium.
It was clay.
Yeah.
It was the same.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. I'm not baking or anything, but I'm decorating.
Yeah.
I'm going to now carve this square piece of, could have been styrofoam. It could have been anything, but it was cake. I carved it out. She iced it. I covered it in fondant. I really didn't know what I was doing. I watched maybe a couple videos on YouTube and I made this King Tut cake. And I couldn't believe and I took a picture of it just to take a picture like I would if I did a painting for Bobbie Lloyd, I would take a picture of it and just keep my work. I took a picture of it and I couldn't believe it. I was feeling good. And art, you know, when you're an artist and you do, and people are looking, I go, wow. 3 days later, I'd like to say there was a divine moment or the clouds separated, whatever. I posted it on Facebook and I don't know why. I don't even, just like I'm posting my work. I wrote, check out this cake I made. Now, keep in mind, this is 2010. Facebook is
so brand new.
You're just posting your kid's school picture or went to the pizza place. You would remember people would just write, had pizza. And
just
random shit. And I wrote, check out this cake I made. And my friend Chris Falco, I've told this story 1,000 times, who I grew up with in Queens, 90 seconds after I posted the picture, the first comment he wrote, forget the cake, boss. You're the cake don. The first post.
Whoa.
And I just wrote, ha, 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 not thinking anything.
Whoa. You have to give him residuals?
He would make me think so. And people started inboxing me, asking me to make cakes. And I would write back, I don't make cakes. And they'd say, yeah, I saw this King Tut cake. So I asked Meredith, I said, hey, you want to make cakes on the weekend? Like, she's like, yeah, I need the extra cash.
Wow.
You're looking to be creative. So we started making cakes in my house on the weekend. Just me posting on Facebook. Being the artist I am, that first couple of nights, I went on Photoshop or whatever the program back then was, and I made the Mario Puzo hand from The Godfather with the Cake Don logo. And instead of the marionette string, the sticks, I put 2 rolling pins as the sticks. And I posted it. And like you, a female in the kitchen, were like a unicorn. I was like they were like, who is this local dad, like tattooed dad making cakes? Like, what is this even? And I started making cakes out of my house. And people in my community started ordering cakes. Like, they really had faith in me. I don't know why. People just started ordering cakes.
Because you're really talented and they're beautiful.
Thank you.
Why.
In the beginning, they looked really good, but you could have went to, there was like, my competition on Long Island is deep. These guys have been doing it 40, 50 years. You could have went anywhere, but they gave me a shot. And I'm sure, you know, I was pricing it at a point where I basically was just giving the shit away. I just wanted more content for the Facebook page. And it went from a cake, 4 cakes a weekend, 9 cakes a weekend, to where I'm emptying the refrigerator. Like, I'm like, here, we're having cereal for dinner. I got to get rid of the milk. Like, I got to make space. I'm in my house, Bobbie Lloyd, making 9 cakes. And now people are picking up cakes in my house. I'm delivering cakes on the weekend.
My God.
And somebody in my town, now this is probably a year and a half in, I've decided I'm going all in. I can't.
Can't be half pregnant.
Once a creative person, right? I make this with my hand, right? I create this book and I can hand it to you and you hand me your money. This is my equity. Your equity is your money. And we go, and I go, I've been doing this my whole life for free. I've been creating art and I couldn't convince anybody to give me anything.
Wow.
As a drummer, I did it. My art, you know, I was always an artist, painting, sculpting. I would paint murals in rooms and graffiti kid. When I got that hit, almost like a drug, that I made this, and it didn't cost me anything but my time and my creativity, and you gave me money.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is I cracked the
cool.
code.
Yeah.
I'm in the matrix. I'm gonna figure this out. Little did I know it was gonna take a lot of years and suffering, but being a worker, because I was an only child, I had a pizzeria job when I was like 13. I worked in a pizza. My mom was like, "You go get a job." Yeah, I worked in a pizza place right across from my house. I said, I got to figure this out. Like, I went and got an entry-level bakery job because I said, I don't know back of the house, front of I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I had never worked in that industry. And I go, I'm going to open a bakery. How? I don't even know anything. I went and got a job at a bakery. Pat Montezoli was the owner. Great family, Italian guy. He had been doing it for 30 years.
Wow.
I met with him and his daughter. We sat in a bagel store next to the bakery, and I had my little book with like 6 cakes I made, like pictures, and I'm like, here's my cakes and whatever. He's like, how much are you looking for a week? And I told him, and he's like, okay, I'll hire you. And I think in his mind, he was looking at me like, this guy is my pathway to the golf course. I'll bring this kid in. I was in my 40s.
Yeah, but
I'll bring him in. I could leave. He'll run, he'll be here, and I can go play some golf, leave, whatever. And he said, I'll never forget, he said, if you're terrible, I'm going to fire you next week. Like, this is not, there's no I'll fire you in a week. And I said, bet, deal. I stayed with Pat for 3 years.
wow.
I stayed with him for 3 years, and he taught me
Wow.
lessons about, not even about bakery, about suppliers, where to get corrugated, just things you would never think of. Don't do this, don't do that, don't handle this way. I really paid attention, but the whole time putting my family in financial ruin. We were hemorrhaging. I went through the 401k. I had to take it out. I went through both kids' college money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just paying. My wife's got a job, but I'm trying to pay everything. And this is where our paths cross, Bobbie Lloyd. I'm driving home one night. I had traded in my BMW for the cheapest Mini Cooper I could get.
Oh, wow.
And I loved it. I loved this Mini Cooper. It was an old used Mini Cooper, and I would talk to this Mini Cooper. And I'm driving home to my house on Route 135, which I live on the North Shore. The bakery was on the South Shore. It connects the South Shore to the North Shore. Gotcha. So I'm driving home on 135, and I'm not ashamed to say it, this was one of the nights where I'm crying in the car. I'm just crying. And I'm talking to myself, like, what are you doing? What is it you're trying to prove? How selfish are you? You have to be an artist. You can't just go get a job. You're going to make your whole family
suffer
for this vision. And in that ride, Dominique from TLC, the casting agent, called me.
Oh my God.
In the car. And she said, would you be interested in being on season 4 with Buddy Valastro? And I'm thinking, yeah, sure. Like,
what does this mean?
I'm definitely interested.
Yeah.
And I went through the whole process, and I got cast on that season 4. Wow. What people don't realize, Buddy at that time, he was the Beatles.
Oh, he was massive.
He couldn't go anywhere. I remember walking. You remember we filmed the finale in the Venetian?
Yeah.
He couldn't walk through the Venetian in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I get cast on the show. It's not a one-off chopped episode. It's not 20 minutes. It's an hour a week for 10 weeks on TLC, and you're a judge. You're a judge, and Jacques Torres is a judge. You and Jacques, which now it immediately stamps the show as legit.
Yeah.
It's not some actor. You and Jacques are the judges, and Buddy. I get on this show. I'm flying by the seat of my pants, man. Like, there's people a couple of people on the show, they've been in their family's bakery their whole life. And I'm like, so we get to week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Now I'm going, I'm going to win this fucking show.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to win this show. You were so kind to everybody on that show. I think you saw yourself in a lot of people. Like you saw yourself.
My heart went out to everyone because first of all I could think about is you're away from your families.
Yeah, we're away.
Yeah.
No cell phone.
No cell phones.
And then they play this game. It's so cold in the studio.
Yeah.
They don't really
freezing.
feed you properly. It's 14 hours. Everybody goes.
You know, we were sitting on, you know, those little like hot things
Yeah,
you get from skiing.
it had to be. It was
We
so
were
cold.
sitting on those.
It was so cold in the studio. And everybody would watch it and go, oh, is it scripted? Like, did you stop and take breaks? I go, we showed up the first day and they just started rolling the cameras. Yeah. Buddy walked in and we were like,
what do we do?
Is this it? Like, do we get...
By the way, did the same with the judges.
Yeah.
We got no prep. They did not want to give us anything in our heads.
Yeah, I think it made for better TV. Yep. He had the earpiece.
We did.
Yeah. Oh, you had it as well.
We did, but there was no pre-prep. There was no, this is what you do, this is how you do it. The only thing I got from the producer, I asked him a question. I was like, oh my God, there's like 35 cameras in here. Where do I look? And he goes, just look at whoever's talking.
The people. Yeah, look at.
I was like, okay.
They didn't even tell us that. Yeah, but you were so kind.
Like,
I remember in one of the first, it was probably the first week, we had to make a dessert that was reminiscent of our town, like where we're from. And we made Zeppelis, right? And we come up and you said, texture is perfect, whatever you said, perfect. And it wasn't this newfangled Zeppeli where they take pizza dough and they drop. It was the old school, had a little orange zest on them. And I said, my family's been making this recipe for longer than I can remember, before I was born, whatever. And Jacques goes, you need a little sauce, a little chocolate sauce or something to dip the Zeppeli in. And I'm like,
so French.
I'm like, what? No, I don't. And I said, I was very, I knew how to play the part. I wasn't going to get in an argument with him. And then when we were doing the interview, like the behind the scenes, I said, I'm not really worried about the French guy. I don't really like crepes anyway. I'm not really like crepes anyway. Bobbie Lloyd liked my Zeppeli, so I'm good.
That's great.
But you were so kind to us there and at the Venetian. Well, I have to tell the story. The episode is, we don't know who the guest is that week. You and Jacques are standing there. And he announces, and here's our guest for the week. Teresa Caputo walks in with Larry, her husband at the time, Larry. We have to make a life-size
I have all the pictures. They're hilarious.
Yeah, we have to make a life-size cake of Teresa Caputo in 12 hours. We have to measure her. Like, we have to really... And the body I took so much time on the body. And before we started, I said, I'll do the hands. And there's like...
And she had those long
30
like,
minutes left. There's like 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
And there's no hands on the cake. And like, there's no hands. And what I realized was, you can't talk and let in the booth hear what you're saying, because now they know what you're concerned about. And all I kept talking was about how fucked up my hands were. My hands really, they look like they came out of a waffle iron. They were like flat. They were terrible. The hands were terrible. And I knew they were bad, but there were so many things on both cakes that were a mess. Teresa Caputo walks out, and I realized the first thing she says, "What happened to the hands on that cake?" And I said, "Motherfucker." I said, they were listening to me the whole time, and they knew what I was concerned about. That episode, the challenge at the end is I have to sculpt your face. Yep. I have to make a Bobbie Lloyd sculpted face. And I loved it. I got to sit with you for like, I don't even know how long we got to sit.
Yeah, I remember,
Me and you got to sit for like a half hour.
Yeah.
I sculpted your face. And that's the episode I get voted off.
I know. Oh, it was so disappointing.
And I lose my shit. Luckily, they did me a favor and they don't show it in the. You know, at the end when they show you folding up your tools, and they ask you a couple of questions. They came over and they said they saw I was. Oh. They go, "We're gonna wait like 20 minutes. Give you some time to." I said, "You could wait 20 fucking days. I don't give a shit. You should ask whatever you. I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it," and I just went off. And I'm glad they didn't show it, because I would have been embarrassed. I would have been embarrassed. I'm glad they just showed me fold up a tool, and
And off you went.
Exit stage left. But
I would
that
tell it was so hard, as honest to God, as a judge, because someone has to go.
yeah,
And
It
there
was.
were people that stayed that shouldn't have stayed because
It was good
someone
TV.
else made a mistake.
and
or-
it was good, and they were
Yeah.
good for TV.
Yeah.
Some of the people on the season
Yeah.
were just great on camera, and they were characters. And you
Remember
knew
the two guys from Vegas? Like they did really fancy stuff, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
got eliminated
Like
because
the
they
se-
couldn't finish.
the second week, they're gone.
And I was like, "God, we told you don't go so big. Like stop.
Yeah.
Like you're just trying to be too fancy.
But
You
it makes
can't
for good
do it."
TV. And at the time, I was devastated. I convinced myself I was going to win. It's $100,000.
You could
As
have
a
won.
new business owner, it's $100,000.
Yeah.
And he's offering you a job. You're going to run the one in the Venetian. Nobody's going to the Venetian, but it's $100,000.
Yeah.
And I'm looking. My aspirations are to have a bakery. And I remember we're in the Venetian. Me and you took a picture together, and I was still really licking my wounds. And one of the producers, I don't remember who it was, somebody came over to me. They were all very cool people on
Yeah,
that
they
show.
were. They were.
They said, if you go back to work in that bakery, you're insane. You should open a bakery. And I said, I don't have.
Was it Sean, the big guy? Remember
I don't
him?
remember.
He was awesome.
The one that yelled all the time, Sean.
Yeah,
was that
he was-
Sean?
It was like a kind of big beard.
Yes, yeah, like a
Yeah.
Viking.
Yeah, it's like a
walking around.
Viking.
But they said, if you don't open a bakery, you're crazy. This thing's going to be on an hour a week. You have 16 weeks. I remember him saying, you have 16 weeks. They're going to edit this
Whoa.
for 16 weeks. And I thought to myself, I don't have 5 cents. I'm like,
How am I going to do this? Ah.
we ended up opening a bakery not long after the episode, right? I say we,
Yeah.
me, because I was my only, like I couldn't
Yeah.
afford anybody. And every week the episodes would come on. And that was, I don't know if I didn't get on that show, how long my path to opening. That was the universe telling me, you better open a shop.
Yeah, because there's so much exposure. You can't pay. That's
Yeah.
like they say, like, priceless. It's priceless. You can't afford to buy that.
You know what priceless exposure is in a company. So for people that don't know, Bobbie ends up at Magnolia Bakery, the iconic Magnolia Bakery. And we'll get into the story how you end up there. But Magnolia is just a bakery until Sarah Jessica Parker eats the bakery, right? It's famous in New York.
It is. It's famous in New York, but it put Magnolia literally on the global map.
Right. So she goes in and she buys a vanilla. I never forget it. She buys a vanilla cupcake with strawberry or pink.
Pink.
Maybe not strawberry.
It's pink
It
buttercream.
looks like a strawberry. It's just pink buttercream.
Yeah.
And she eats that thing on camera. Now, every Long Island housewife, girl who lives in the city, every human
Yep.
being needs to go to Magnolia.
Yep.
Was it, do you know because you weren't with them yet.
And we weren't with the company at
Do
the
you
time
know
yet.
from talking to people that were, was it overnight? Was it the next day that
It
people
was-
just lined
it-
up?
Once the episode aired.
Yeah, once that aired.
Yeah, it definitely. And it was also that it became this affordable Sex and the City moment. Because the Sex and the City girls, they're always going out to nightclubs, they're drinking Cosmos,
Right,
they
bottle
have, like,
service
the
and-
Manila Blahniks, like everything is not affordable. But it's an experience that you could have that Sarah Jessica had sitting on that bench with Miranda.
That's a brilliant take on
And
that.
they can
Yeah,
have
they
their
can go get
little
the cupcake.
moment. Yep, like, oh, I'm doing the same thing as Sarah Jessica
Yeah,
Parker did.
and get a picture out and get
Yeah,
the picture
get the
outside.
exactly.
So the exposure from that show,
Yeah.
I mean, that changed the whole trajectory of.
And people still talk about it globally. That was in 2001.
It's a moment. It's
It's insane. It's an iconic moment.
It's it's Billy Crystal and what was the girl in Katz's
yeah,
Deli.
yeah.
It's the
I
whole.
want what he's
And they'll
having.
never forget. That's They'll never forget that.
Well, when the movie
People
came
want to
out-
sit at that table.
Yeah, I think the movie came out in like 2008, the Sex and the City movie, the
Yeah.
first one, and it like reignited the whole thing. Life was crazy. There were 10 tour buses a day, 55 people on each bus, coming through the West Village.
Would they just drive by or they would stop and
they
come
would
in?
stop. So they would pull over and park somewhere like on the Hudson.
And
or
everybody would
something.
come in.
And then they'd start doing the neighborhood tour. They'd go to Perry Street and sit on the stoop. And then they wanted to come in
Yeah.
the bakery. Well, it's tiny. We can't take 55 people. So we worked out a deal where they would order in advance and we'd get
You'd
the
have
cupcakes.
them ready.
Yeah, we'd have the cupcakes on the bus.
Yeah.
So they would get them on the bus and
You
have them.
as somebody in the industry knows the greatest marketing company in the world, they couldn't have come up with that. You couldn't have paid for. There was no amount of money that could have created that.
No.
That just happens.
It's huge.
It just happens, and it changes the whole company. Your pathway into Magnolia is, how do you find your way to Magnolia?
It's kind of a weird. So I come to New York. I work for Calvin. Then I get and I was kind of saying earlier how I've never applied for a job. I always go for what I want. I went and worked at Union Square Cafe, famous restaurant. Danny Meyer, the whole hospitality thing.
Is he Danny Meyer already?
Oh yeah,
he's Danny Meyer.
So we opened our restaurants the same year. I opened American Accent the same year that he opened Union Square. My business partner went to high school with Michael Romano, who became the second chef with his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. It's like this really weird 6 degrees of separation. So I had dinner at Union Square, and I'd met Danny while I was working for Calvin. And I was like, I want to come and work for you when I'm done with this job. And he said, call me. Because I was doing the consulting job and I was doing Calvin.
For people that don't know, Danny Meyer in the food world is...
He's the guru of hospitality.
He's the name everybody would like to get a couple minutes with, ask a couple questions with, work with.
Shake Shack. Everyone knows Shake Shack.
Yes.
He's the founder of Shake Shack.
Right, but before Shake Shack, he was
Union Square.
He was Union Square.
But it was all about hospitality. So I had met Danny, told him I'd love to come and work there, and he said, well, you have to start as a waiter. I was like, okay.
Had you ever done
I'd been waiting. Yeah, I'd done.
You waited tables
in college, but I'd already been a business owner, a restaurant owner, a Calvin Klein chef.
It's almost like me going to work in the bakery. I tied an apron. I got to learn.
Yeah, it's like
and you got a chance to work.
I just want to get my foot in the door.
You knew you were not going to be a waitress long.
That's 3 months.
Yeah,
that was.
You were a waitress 3 months.
For 3 months,
yeah.
And Danny was like, "Yeah, front of house manager."
They made you front of house manager.
And so I was with the team that took us from a 2-star to 3 stars. And Danny put this steering committee together called Team Excellence. And it was, what do we need to do to change? The word cafe is in the name, Union Square Cafe, which implies casual. But how do we get to a 3-star restaurant? What are the things that we need to implement and the tiny little changes that maybe aren't noticeable? And those are the things that he talks about in his book,
Do you remember
Setting
what some
the
of them
Table.
were?
Some little things like the staff used to carry wine glasses in their hand to go to a table. And they put the stem in your fingers. Now it's get a tray that's lined with a cloth and then always carry it on the tray, never in your hands. Silverware, same thing. When you're resetting, you never carry silverware in your hand. Always put it on a tray. But it's also the little things that he talks about in his book called Setting the Table that maybe the guest doesn't notice, but overall it creates an environment. The little touches, the little moments where you remember the guest's name, you know exactly where they're waiting at the bar, you know their name, and you can go to them and say, Mr. Smith, your table is ready, please follow me. Make sure that you know what they love, the little notes on the side that says this customer really likes to have that table every time they come in, or they really like this side dish. Make sure you have it delivered to the table.
At that point, is all this information handwritten in a book, or do you have can you type it in the computer and their name would come up? Are you keeping a record?
This was before Open Table, so everything was handwritten.
Handwritten.
And even our reservation system was a piece of paper that was like a messy Excel spreadsheet.
You mentioned his name. He doesn't do a lot of like podcast. Like I don't see him doing a lot of stuff. He would be such an interesting guy to hear talk for a long form. Like
he's really, Danny's amazing. I've talked about him a lot too because we're the same age. We both grew up in the Midwest. He's got hospitality down, and I talk a lot about one of our values at Magnolia Bakery is sincere service. And I reference setting the table. My grandmother, women of simple means, my grandpa was a tool and die guy. They weren't rich, but grandma always set the table beautifully.
Right.
So even if you were getting a grilled cheese sandwich and a glass of milk at 3 years old, you got a real plate, not paper. You got a real glass. Grandma's thought was like, you're going to learn that I'm taking care of you.
Yeah, it feels elevated.
Exactly.
My mom sets the table for Thanksgiving the day before.
Oh, yeah, so do I when I do a dinner party.
The day before. My mom's got that place.
Yeah.
You walk in.
I put Post-it notes on all the serving utensil things. Be like, this bowl is for the mashed potatoes. This one is.
You walk in my mom's 83 still.
Wow.
Yeah, but still very sharp lady, really together. And You know, she'll call me from, I'm at Nordstrom. Do you need anything? I'm at like she's everywhere. She doesn't.
Can she go shopping for me?
Yeah, she's everywhere. But she'll set the. I'll go to the house like the Wednesday. I'll go the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm like, yeah, table is set. That generation,
detail, right?
That generation they are from a different place.
Yeah. Oh, my grandma had special plates for Thanksgiving and special plates for Christmas, as does my mother-in-law. She has special plates, and it's like the special napkins, the special silverware, the goblets, like everything. But I think it was more the simple meal of setting a table for a very simple meal where it's elevated that you feel taken care of and special. That
there are
grandma's
restaurants
not
like
throw
that
a
too.
plate on
There are restaurants like that the check is not heavy, but you felt it was a special dining experience. That's a special restaurant owner can do that.
Yep. Attention to detail.
Yeah. Danny Meyer.
Union Square Hospitality Group is the name of his bigger group. And that word is in it, Union Square Hospitality.
And then went on to change the fast food world with Shake Shack, the way they handle the customers. Went on to change.
Actually, I said something to Danny recently how I tried to take the concept of the style of service we did, and it's called sequence of service when you're doing fine dining, and translate that experience into the 3 to 5 minute transaction at Magnolia Bakery, which is very hard to do. And so it's thinking through the simple things of how do we make a guest feel that we're happy to have them here. And it can be the simplest thing of instead of saying, can I help you? Well, yeah, obviously you can help me. I'm here in your bakery. I'm going to buy something. Say hello. Just hello.
Yeah.
Don't say, who's next? Don't say, can I help you? Then the hello, if the customer says, oh, I'm trying to decide, just looking around. Well, let me know if I can guide you in some direction. My favorite dessert is the banana pudding.
Yeah. Then you catch the customer that goes, they're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want the back and forth. We try in my shop with the cupcakes, we try and have a little bit of dialogue because I want to retain a little knowledge about you and then use it the next time you come. Try and learn something and then use it. Because if you walk in, I ask everybody, what do you sell? If you're buying a dozen cupcakes,
You got a party.
chances are you're either on your way to a client on Long Island or you're going, some people will just say, rough day. We just need some cupcakes. Or they'll tell me what they're celebrating. If you come back 6 weeks later and I say, how did your kid's graduation go? They go,
you remember that?
I can remember that.
Yeah.
Like I try and retain that knowledge because it's what sets us apart from all the competition. I have to set myself apart. I'm not around 50 years. My name doesn't carry, there are guys on Long Island that have been open. They've been in the cake world forever.
Yeah.
So there's a reason I've been able to occupy and take this lane. We pay close attention. You can sit with me and do a consult still on a cake. Most owners are not.
Yeah.
You're not sitting with the owner.
Yeah. You're sitting with a 16-year-old kid.
Right, with the pad, and they're just like looking at your high school kid. I keep interrupting because you're saying such interesting shit. So you got to Danny Meyer. We're working our way to Magnolia.
Oh, yeah. So Danny Meyer, so that led to, I did that for 3 years, and that led to another group of people in a restaurant. And I did a whole bunch of restaurants. And the reason I bring that one up is because you meet a lot of people. A lot of people throughout that. So it was a series of restaurants, Steak Frites, Prefix, Au Cafe, City Crab.
Yeah, all the heavy hitters.
All the heavy hitters in the 90s, right? In the aughts, in the early 90s period, which led me to meeting a couple of guys. Jimmy Bradley, Steve Abrams, a few other people. And we all had this idea that we wanted to do this sandwich shop together. And it was an interesting time because wrap sandwiches were kind of happening on the West Coast, not on the East Coast. Our idea, and they were all based on a tortilla, and a traditional sandwich rolled up in a tortilla. So it would be like, turkey club rolled up in a tortilla. But
right, people can't understand. At that point, there was you couldn't go to the deli and get a wrap.
No, they didn't
Nobody's
exist.
making a wrap.
Yeah, this was early. What year did we open? We ended up opening in 97. But so our idea was a little bit different is that, and I did this in my restaurant American accent. We had individual pizzas. Remember, this is 1984. Not too many people had individual pizzas yet. But our idea of an individual pizza was we called it dinner on dough. So imagine you've got ribeye steak, oven roasted red balsamic onions, creamed spinach. That's your meal on a plate. Now take those things and put it on a pizza, dinner on dough. Now take those same things and roll it into a loaf of bread, not a tortilla, a flat loaf of bread, which is a Middle Eastern bread that's really soft and delicious and wonderful and warm. And so our concept turned into something very different. We did like the turkey gobbler, which was turkey dinner.
Where was the location?
It was on 69th and Broadway.
Okay.
So we opened in 97. So
What was the name of it?
Guys, it was called It's a Wrap. So, and it was
As it should have been.
fresh smoothies, fresh squeezed juices,
A
wheatgrass.
sit-down spot or a walk-up
There
counter?
was sit down. You could sit inside. We did delivery. We did catering.
More of a
Like
grab and go for people in the
mostly
city.
grab and go. You
Yeah.
could pre-order and pick up, or you could have it delivered on a guy on a bike. But it was innovative for the time because nobody was really doing what we did. Everything was healthy, made for you there, homemade soups, fresh salads, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, and it exploded. So I meet these guys, we do this thing. Ultimately, I end up, one of my partners, Steve Abrams, he and I end up doing a couple other things together. And he had met the previous owner of Magnolia Bakery at a dinner party.
Magnolia at that time is just the one location.
Just one location, and it was Elisa Torrey, one woman. He met her at a dinner party.
She's worn out at the time. She's just looking for the exit.
Yep. She's almost 10 years in. I think and I don't really know her, so I'm not going to speak for her, but my understanding is that she was done. She was ready to say next. What's next?
You know the feeling.
Yeah. So exactly, like I'm just ready to say it became something she didn't expect, was way too busy, way too insane.
Yeah.
And she made some very good money off of it. So it was time for the next chapter for her. And Steve came to me and said, will you go and analyze the books? And so I met with her bookkeeper, who happened to be her mother, and looked at how she kept the books. And then I was like, oh my God, this is a gold mine. They have no idea what they have. There's so much opportunity here, from the selection of vendors to price reduction of ingredients and costs, and then improvement of the recipes and just the concept. And I said, Elisa Torrey created a brand that has legs. This brand can do something. So yeah, let's do it. So Steve bought the bakery. I came on board as president.
It was just the two of you.
Just the two of us. And we said, let's see where this goes.
That's what year?
That was, God, what year was that? 2006. Bakery was 10 years old, one bakery.
Yeah.
So, and then we opened the first one that we opened. We opened our doors. We bought it at the end of 2006.
Then you went to Upper West Side.
Then we went to Upper West. So it took us a year we did a logo, we rebranded, we did all these things, and opened our first location in 2008.
The Upper West Side was on what street?
On 69th and Columbus
69th,
Avenue.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Right off the bat, you make these tweaks to the business, which was already a profitable business. You see a change right off.
I went in the doors first couple of weeks, and I kind of put what I call the 6-point plan together. And most businesses will follow those 6 points. And it's a combination of things like a marketing plan and technology. There was no website, production plan, training program, all the things that you constantly do all the time anyway, right? So first thing, they had the old-fashioned cash registers where you punch in the dollar amount, and for beverage you hit 1, and for food you hit 2. And then over here is like a credit card machine, and nothing ever matches up. And every day they were short like $300.
Did you get a POS system? What did you do right off the bat?
The first thing I bought was, we knew we were going to get POS in the future, but I said, let me just get an electronic cash register that's programmed. So it's computerized, but it's a single cash register with the credit card system built inside of it so that we could track. And I remember asking the manager, it's like, how do you know what sells? And she said, well, there's none of it left the next day. I was like, but how do you know it's sold?
Right.
Because there's no way to track what you made. No one's literally
what's the
tracking.
top? What are we selling the most of? What are we selling the least of?
But they didn't even know like what they made because it was like baker's choice. So the baker decides, I'm going to make like the brownies with white chocolate and toffee.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep this? Did you keep everybody on, or did you bring in your own?
We gave people the opportunity
to stay,
and some people chose to leave.
Yeah,
which after a period of time, they just didn't like change and seeing that we were going to professionalize the business in a way that bringing in a cash register meant
Yeah.
like catching people on shortages.
I was going to
'cause they were
say,
short $300
I was going to say,
every
the guy
day.
who was making an extra $40 a
Yeah.
day now is not making the
Yeah.
extra 40.
You know, making sure everybody was on payroll, making sure we had a production plan. They used 5-quart KitchenAid mixers like you'd buy from home.
And just burn it out and buy a new one.
Constantly. They had 40 of them. I'm not kidding. 20 of them were always out getting repaired. The other 20 were in the store, and each baker would get assigned 2 mixers, and they'd have 2 up here, and then 2, they get assigned 4, and then 2 below them. And the rule was when your mixer starts to get hot, stop it,
Switch
and
it.
switch mixers out.
Did you go buy a big Hobart? What'd you do first?
Immediately. That was the very first thing I did. But I asked people, like, why are you using these little tiny mixers?
Didn't you realize 40 little mixers? You could have bought one Hobart. You could have bought.
The answer I got was, my recipes don't work in a bigger mixer. I was like, okay, nobody knows. No one knows how to do this stuff. So that was the first thing I did.
Yeah. What you realize is some businesses make money by accident.
Yeah.
They just, there is no
Pure luck.
grand plan. Or just
Yeah.
happen to make money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one premise I always keep in my head is just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean that we always have to. And so here's Magnolia. It's been open for 10 years, and they always had really long lines. Part of the reason for the long lines, they were constantly running out of product. And so people were literally waiting for cupcakes to come out
Yeah.
of the
Think about
oven.
how many people left
Heck,
and didn't
well, we're
buy.
doing twice the amount of business, but we can keep up with the volume.
Yeah, and
Still
half-
fresh
half
baked,
the amount of
still
time.
baked from scratch, yep. And half the amount of time because you bought the bigger mixer. Came up with a production plan.
Yeah, but you're definitely not missing it, but your years before that, you've been surrounded by serial killers in the industry. You've been programmed. You're a highly operative.
Yeah.
And you've been taught by. We could have put you anywhere at that point. You
And
would've-
even before Magnolia, the company I was in had 5 of the biggest
You
restaurants
would've-
in the city.
you would have ran the best, most productive 7-Eleven in the world. Like we could have put you anywhere, Bobbie. The people that you were around, you saw how people operated,
Yeah.
and every move was important, and
Exactly.
everything's important. I try to tell people that, like, my shop, I have the 7 train. The wall in the back of the shop is the 7
yeah.
train because that's a very important.
I
wrote
haven't
that-
been to your shop. I have to come out.
If
I've
you're
seen
ever
all your
if you're
pictures.
ever heading out to
Yeah.
the East End, whatever, stop in. I would be honored for you to have a cupcake one day. But the 7 train is in there, and it's a very urban. It's my shop. I have a New York City payphone with graffiti all
cute.
over it, and it's really my artwork, my graffiti
Yeah.
artwork. If you walk in and Celine Dion is playing, there's a disconnect.
It's a disconnect. Yeah.
Some people don't think you have to walk in and it has to, the song that you think would be playing on the subway in New York City, it all has to connect. It all has to connect.
It's an experience. It's an emotional connection to the environment that
It
you're
all
in.
makes
It's
sense.
experiential.
It all makes sense. The whole place right. Some places you walk in and you feel like, I don't think the owner had anything to do with decorating this place. Somebody in some office, you feel like, I know the owner and I know the name of the place. This look has nothing to do with any of it. Yeah. You guys have stayed so true to the brand at Magnolia. Like, it's very similar. When you walk in, it's that feel. You guys didn't come in and make it this new.
We didn't do cookie cutter, but, you know, now that we're growing so much, one thing that I actually just finished a couple weeks ago was a materials board of making sure that as we do grow around the country, that's each of our franchisees doesn't go like, I want that color green. No, I want this color green. No, I want that color
This is
green.
it.
Like, this is what you're going to use no matter where you are. But we have the freedom to also figure out a way to add color. There's choices we can make. So maybe we do a darker green awning in this location because that works for the exterior. Or maybe this location has to have a white back
You make
signage.
that decision?
I work with the architects
You work
and
with-
design
yeah,
team
you make that decision.
to make those decisions. How it all ties together because like we're opening in Louisville, Kentucky next Tuesday. And the building is an old building and the exterior is kind of a dark green tile. And so normally our sign is green, they don't work together.
Right.
It conflicts. It looks really
So
bad.
did you
actually.
do green letters on a light
White
colored
back-
sign? Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
So
answer
that's
to
where you
that.
have to have the
Yeah.
ability to say, like, we're going to change this to work for this location.
Yeah, we're not gonna horseshoe it in.
Exactly.
Or
In LA,
not horseshoe, shoehorn it.
shoehorn it
Shoehorn it in.
So like in
Horseshoe it
LA,
in.
our store is an Art Deco building. And so we had to give a nod to that Art Deco space to make the design work. So it's a
Right.
little bit different than what you would see here in New York City. So,
The-
but still is Magnolia. You walk in and you go, that is Magnolia
What's the
Bakery.
vetting process for the people who want to have a franchise? How much due diligence are we doing on
There's
these?
a bunch of due diligence. We do have what we call the 4 C's. The 4 C's in no particular order are a capital, probably number one. So you got to qualify with the right amount of capital. The second one is capacity. We want to make sure that do you have the capacity to be involved in this business? We don't want it to be a transactional business. Like there's big franchise groups that own like a whole bunch of restaurants. They're not going to pay attention to our bakery. We want people to be involved in the bakery and be part of it. We want to know that you're the one hiring your staff, that you're the one who knows your customer.
Did you fight the franchise model before you committed to it? Were you opposed to it?
I'm not going to say opposed because we've been franchising internationally since 2010. So we've been doing it for a long time.
Okay.
So that's different though. Internationally, it'll be one franchisee with 10 locations in the country. So it's a little different. Here in the U.S., it's smaller groups. So person could buy as few as 3 locations. So it's not that I was against doing
So
it.
nobody's buying one.
No one's buying one.
One.
They have to buy a minimum of 3.
That's a unique concept, right? Is that?
It actually helps them because if you do 3, you're going to hire one baker. Your one baker is the head baker, and then you spread that across the 3 locations.
Was anybody else doing that? Was there any
I
other?
don't think so.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Yeah.
I never heard
It's
that.
a cool way to do it. And it's also that you can do a full bake store, which we call the first store, has to be like your flagship.
And then you have other satellite.
And then you
spot?
can do satellites where it's like a partial bake and you deliver the product from your first store. So make the first store big enough so you
Right.
can deliver product over to the other 2 locations. We're banana pudding heavy,
Yes.
60%
Yeah.
at least. So banana pudding is really easy to make.
When you took over, when you guys bought it, was banana pudding
It was not the thing.
right? So did you taste their recipe and go, why isn't everybody eating this on the planet?
Yes.
This is the thing. Like,
Yeah.
It was the woman's recipe. It was a
It was
family
hers,
recipe.
but you know, like banana, no one really knows like who created banana pudding.
Yeah.
It's been around for
I don't think you're ever
really
gonna-
like
yeah, you'll never-
125 years.
It's like
probably.
who created buffalo wings?
Exactly. It's been around forever. Someone's grandma probably created it in 1890. Who knows?
By accident.
But then eventually it ended up on the back of the box of vanilla wafers.
Yeah.
And so that's not the recipe we use. It's a slightly different version of that. But the original order didn't create the one that we make. It's out there and it's published and it's been in the New York Times and we've made it for years and it's ours. And people just love it. And it is the one recipe I said I will not touch. I will not change this recipe.
No, you shouldn't. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
People
Have
love
you
it.
at any point in your time at Magnolia brought in any family with you into the business?
Mine, no.
Nobody.
Well, I shouldn't say that. My son works for us, but I didn't bring him in. He works as administrative assistant to HR.
Gotcha. But
So-
he's involved
But
in the company.
he's in the
How many
company.
kids do you have?
I have 2.
2 kids.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because both my girls are with me.
Yeah.
And it's turned out to be the most
It's wonderful.
incredible thing.
I think both of my kids, I will say every single one of my friends, their kids worked for me at
for you.
some point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have
That's
the
a
same
phone call, yeah.
experience.
Hey, my kid's coming home for the summer.
Or in high school, it's like these kids need to have a job so that they learn what it's like to
And that's
serve
work.
people too.
That's real work. Yeah. And you got to be able to have a conversation, say
Yep.
thank you. Yeah. From when you take over, growing pains, anything where you said to yourself, man, I don't know if this was, or never.
Not so much growing pains. We bought the bakery, so we opened up our first store our first company-owned store in January of 2008. The end of that month, we signed a lease for Rockefeller Center. And you know what happened in 2008?
Yeah.
The crash.
Yeah, we all.
So a couple months later, the crash happens, a few months later, and that was absolutely terrifying.
So you have 2 locations at that point before Rockefeller Center?
No, well, yeah, the original store, Bleecker Street,
Right.
and then Columbus Avenue on the Upper West
That's
Side.
what you had. And
so
then
that
that-
opened January 17th, 2008. The end of January, we signed a lease for Rock Center.
Where does the nerve for Rockefeller Center, like where does that?
That was my partner, Steve. I was terrified, quite
yeah,
frankly.
where does that come? Like that location,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't imagine what the rent was.
There's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And I just looked at him like, oh my God, what if? What if it's not a home run?
You're putting a personal guarantee.
No, I'm not. He did.
Somebody is.
Yeah, he had to put a personal guarantee. But I was more like, oh my God, to have that as our second, one that we're opening
Yeah, that's
and
an
building.
anvil on your head, man.
It's huge undertaking. And then the crash happens. And it was really like, how are we going to do this? And then my partner got sick. Sick to the point where he literally was debilitated and could not work.
Really?
He had a like gut kind of issue thing that was just really, he dropped 40 pounds. I mean, like really, really sick. And I've heard him say that he was dying. I mean, you're losing your nutrition. You can't hold food in. His body was just falling apart.
Yeah, I've heard you tell this story before. I've heard you tell this because I use it every time I'm at the ledge where you say cupcakes are recession proof. Yeah, I say that. I repeat that to myself as I'm laying in bed. So you found out people didn't have money for stuff, trips, fancy bags.
Yeah.
They had money for a cupcake.
At that end, they weren't taking their family on these huge vacations to go somewhere else.
Hanging out in Manhattan.
They were coming to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And they were coming, we opened in October 8th, 2008. They were coming to Manhattan to celebrate things with their family. They'd go to American Girl Store, they'd go to Rockefeller Center, they'd come to Magnolia Bakery. We opened up, boom, we were slamming busy from day one. And it's never stopped.
Yeah, incredible.
But it was a scary, scary moment of, first off, how are we funding this? How are we doing this? Because everything just crashed. And how are we going to get the momentum to get it open? We begged and borrowed from everybody. So because we have great relationships, and this is something I'm sure you do this too, is I have incredibly long-term relationships with every vendor I've ever worked with, even when it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you have to break the relationship, I do it in a way where it's incredibly respectful because you never know when it's going to come around again. And that way people will help you when you need help.
Yeah, I get asked to be on some podcasts and stuff, or some kid will ask me to do a collab on a video on Instagram. And he'll go, thanks so much for doing that. Like, I have like 2,000 followers and, most people say no. And I go, I never look, I don't care what your followers are. If I like the content on that kid's page, I tell all these kids, I'm going to do the video, we'll collab because I saw something in you and 2 years from now, I don't know where you're going to be.
Yeah.
And you're going to say to yourself, I remember when Don let me come and film. I have an opportunity now. I'm going to call him.
Yep.
This kid could end up being at Google, at who knows where, running a department somewhere. You got to treat people no matter what their W-2 says.
Yeah.
You treat them the same way.
It's that opportunity.
Yeah. You have set an example, I'm sure, for all the people that have worked for you, where you talk to everybody the same. I've ended up getting to do some work for some really famous, popular, whatever, high-powered people.
I've seen those cakes. They're amazing.
Thank you. And I've ended up at tables. Yeah. And then I listen to conversations and I go, this is the same conversation at every table. This is no different. This is just people that have had fortunate things happen. They've made right decisions. My friend, whoever, made the wrong decision on a business he invested in. This guy made the right decision. He happens to have a lot of money, but the discussions are all the same. Yeah. And I had mentioned imposter syndrome early on in this episode. I had suffered it was a real thing for me where I would get invited to a thing. And I'll tell you a story. I got invited to a dinner for Tommy Mottola's birthday. Okay? I was making Tommy's cake for him, for Tommy Mottola. Party's in the Hamptons. A friend of mine is throwing the party for him. I get invited. I get there. It's 12 people.
Whoa.
It's not.
You're thinking it's a party.
It's not 100. I make this giant boombox cake with Tommy sitting on top. It's 12 people. I immediately, all my insecurities kick in, and I'm thinking, somebody's going to come and get me. They're going to be like,
what is at this table?
What is this guy doing? Can we get him out of here? Like, now this is Tommy. It's Tommy Mottola. This is, he's an icon in the music world, and I was a musician, and then you sit and you have a dinner and you realize we're all just talking about our kids and talking about what we're doing for the summer. Yeah. It's all the same stuff. I try and instill that in my daughters.
Don't be intimidated.
And treat everybody properly, because when you run into them now, a year, 5 years, 6 years down the road, 12 years later, and I call and I message you and go, hey, Bobbie, can you come on my podcast? Yes, of course. Yeah, that the relationships you build. Some people are like a wrecking ball, and they're so focused on a vision, they're going to come through with a flamethrower, and they're going to destroy. They're getting. You can do it in the other way. You're proof. Yeah, you can do it the other way. We can get there, and everybody can be unscathed. And
I do have a funny Tommy Mottola story.
Do you really?
Yeah. So during COVID, early COVID, I was on the news for this weird thing called healthy lighting. So it was like a portal that I had put in my store that you would walk through, and it's supposed to like kill all the germs on you. And you kind of walk through it and you stand.
Was it so? People, it really should work, or
it
was
really?
Like,
yeah, they literally use this kind of equipment in hospital rooms.
Got it.
But this one was meant to be like experimental. I don't think the company exists anymore. But my investor had asked me if I would put the unit in our store. So I got on, I forget which channel it was, but I was in the news.
No cost to you. You weren't paying.
No cost to us. So, but I was in the news for it. It was interesting. The next day, I get a phone call from a woman saying that Tommy Mottola would like to call me. I was like, okay.
Had you ever met him before?
No. I was like, tell him to call. Here's the number, like my personal number. So Tommy calls. Hi, it's Tommy. Like literally. Yeah. Not Tommy Mottola.
Hi, it's Tommy.
It's Tommy. He called because he said, you need to have a bakery in Greenwich. He wanted me to know. I thought that was really sweet.
Very nice of him.
That someone went out of his way, a busy guy like that, a heavy hitter, to just give me his
can you open up over here?
And we're going to be opening in Greenwich soon.
I'm shocked that it took this long.
I know, right?
I'm shocked.
Yeah. But COVID happened, we got new investors and life took over and stuff happens and a different plan. But I just thought that was the sweetest thing ever.
What did the COVID situation look like for the company? Did it?
COVID was, we were in the middle of a due diligence for a sale. My business partner was being bought out and our prior investors. It put that on pause until 2021. So during COVID, I had to get all the PPP loans.
You were considered essential. Your doors stayed open. Yeah, us too.
But we can only do it in 3 of our stores because anything that was in a mall, we had to shut down. Right. So DC was a mall, Penn Station was a mall, Boston
DC was a mall. DC was a subway, right?
We were in Union Station.
But that was considered a mall.
Like a mall. So we had to shut down. So out of our 10 stores, 7 of them had to shut down. But our e-commerce business just like, exploded. And the stores that did stay open, it was so lovely how, and I'm sure you went through this too, how customers felt they needed a place where they could be taken care of. Even though it was 6 feet apart and only 6 people in the store at a time, and we'll take care of it. We'll hand it to you outside. We put this QR code, stamp things all over our store windows so they could stand outside, snap the QR code, place an order, and we would hand it out to them.
We were making up the rules as we went along.
Exactly.
We were doing listen, I had never made cupcakes before.
Oh.
I'd never made a cupcake.
Not until COVID?
I came into work do you remember March 13th was the day that we got the announcement? No restaurant, no catering hall, no restaurant. So now I'm a custom cake business.
Yeah, no one's having parties.
So I hit my answering machine. I had 33 cakes that week. So for a little shop like me, 33 custom cakes. Yeah. That's a good week.
That's huge too.
I had 30 cancellations. I said, we're dead. I said, I know this is not gonna be 2 weeks. We're dead. And all those 30 people now, they want their money.
Oh yeah.
Their parties. It's not we're postponing. They want their money. And people who don't have a small business, that money's gone.
That money's gone and spent.
that money's long gone. Yeah. Whatever reason, another lily pad moment where I'm like, I said, we gotta make some cupcakes. I made a 12-pack, 3 vanilla, 3 chocolate, 3 cookies and cream, 3 fudge. I took a picture of it and I put it on all my social and I said, from Queens to Montauk.
Whoa.
If you order this dozen cupcakes, I will deliver it, no delivery charge.
Whoa.
Me. I'll deliver it myself. I'll drop.
They'll drive
and
anywhere.
people started ordering. This is the first day. I was still worried, but people started ordering cupcakes because you got to think everybody's locked in their house with their kids, and you're going to bring me food. Like 1 week in, News 12, which on Long Island is the news for us, Elisa DeStefano reaches out to me and says, I want to do a story how you've pivoted in 1 week. Wow. You have this cupcake business. Like, she came and did a story, and they run it. News 12 runs the story once an hour. You know how it's just on that cycle?
Yep.
From that day, the phone never stopped. 3 weeks, so it's from that story airing. Fast forward 3 weeks, I have 3 full-time delivery drivers.
Oh my God.
All day. We can't keep up.
Wow.
We can't keep up. People are delivering cupcakes everywhere. Because I don't have a showcase. My shop was a custom cake shop. There was nothing. Yeah. You couldn't come in and buy anything. So I had to do delivery. I'm driving everywhere. One woman who I wish I remember what customer it was called and said, I want to order 3 dozen cupcakes. And I said, thank you so much, whatever. And I said, where do you want me to deliver them? And she said, I don't even really want them. I just want to support you guys. Aww, and I said, wow. Like, people were really getting behind each other.
Yeah.
She said, you know what? She was the first one. She said, you know what? Deliver them to North Shore Hospital, the emergency room for the frontline workers. Because at that point,
makes me want to cry.
Remember, the frontline workers were like the superheroes. She said, put from my family, right, my last name, to the front, to the staff. So I took them, and now you're not allowed in that point. I had to leave them on a desk outside. All the nurses shared it in their Instagram story, holding my cupcakes. So now people followed her lead and started sending it to the firehouse, to the precinct, to the hospitals, to their doctor, to the vet.
Oh my God.
We were delivering. I didn't even have a second to mourn the loss of this custom cake.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up.
Wow. And were you doing this alone?
No, I had
like a couple people,
my daughters. Like, I had all hands on deck, whoever could help me.
Yeah.
And we were making cupcakes, and we were delivering. And in the heart of COVID, me and my daughter were driving home one night from my original shop, and I drove past the location with a phone number in the window. And I said, I love that spot. And we kept driving past, and I said, call that number. Now it's full-blown COVID. Everything's closing. She called the real estate agent. He couldn't even fathom. He's like, you want to rent a space? Like, he goes, I thought you were calling, you want to move out. I said, no, we were looking.
Whoa.
He gave me a price. I said, what's the landlord looking? He gave me the price. I counter-offered, and he goes, he'll take it. He didn't even call the guy. Whoa. He goes, he'll take it. 5-year. I signed the lease. We opened up a cupcake shop in the heart of COVID. And what we found was the same thing you found with the recession. It's recession-proof. And nobody's flying anywhere. If you could show up at my doorstep with a 12-pack of cupcakes for my kids, and it never went away. And now I have the cakes came back, because at that point, everybody was saying, nobody's ever going to eat birthday cake again. Who's going to blow on it? We were so germ-phobic.
People still do this, like with a plate or something.
We were so germ-phobic, but the cakes came back, and now I have a cupcake and a cake. But that's how out of the most horrific situation, I had this cupcake business spawn from. And it's a little something. There are people that are never going to buy a cake from me. because of the price. There are people
Yeah.
that they're never gonna, but a dozen cupcakes,
Yeah.
they're definitely buying. They're definitely buying. But the pivot, we pivoted right away. And for you, I can't imagine the amount of pivots you've made.
Oh God!
Over the years.
E-commerce business exploded. Every store that we shut down, we put the management team in our production facility.
The e-commerce was your dedicated web. You were selling it yourself, direct to consumer,
and it blew up.
I can't
just
imagine.
like, it quadrupled.
You didn't build it for It was built.
No, we had it.
You had it
Yeah,
already.
we opened that in I think 2011.
And you weren't doing.
So
it was
we did
some business.
cupcakes.
No, but it was a little bit. It was some
it wasn't
business.
huge,
Yeah.
but we did like cupcakes and banana pudding and a few small like 6-inch cakes.
Right.
But during COVID, everybody was gifting to everybody.
Yeah.
And then
Grandparents were sending to their
Exactly.
grandkids because they couldn't visit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I also did during COVID, which always makes me laugh, online banana pudding classes. And so people would buy what we call the DIY kit.
The kit.
And the kit.
You would instruct them.
Yeah. And then I would be on camera. And I can make pudding in less than 20 minutes, but I had to make it last an hour.
Right.
So a couple of times a week, I would be on camera in my office where I had a little test kitchen. My team would be like right there, like taking a picture of me like on the video. And I would talk about banana pudding and how to make whipped cream. And I would talk about bananas. And this is a ripe banana. This is not a ripe banana. Should peel. I'd make it
whatever
take
we
an
had to
hour.
do.
Yeah, I would just jabber and talk. And it was actually really a lot of fun.
Yeah. How many of those stores, the 7 that couldn't open during, how many didn't come back?
2.
2 didn't. So DC didn't come back, I
DC
know.
and Boston.
And Boston didn't come back. And aspirations to have them both come back at some point, or are they?
Well, Boston, we just signed on a new franchisee, so we'll be somewhere in the Boston area.
Nice.
But it's funny, we closed those 2 stores, but at the same time in January 2020, we had just signed 2 new leases. So
Did you follow through on them? Yeah.
So we signed Central Park South, which is right at Columbus Circle, in January of 2020, and then we signed Moynihan Station, which was really in deep construction at the time. It's the old post office building, and now it's where the Amtrak station comes in. And it's beautiful. I don't know if you've been in that station.
I haven't.
It's absolutely beautiful. We signed that lease. It was a big deal location. It is a big deal location. But it was going to be a long construction because it literally was like dirt on the ground when I first saw it.
Yeah.
So it took, I think we opened in summer of 2021. So it took a year and a half to build it out. And build out during COVID when it's union job, it's federal money, state money, city money, MTA,
We all
Amtrak.
forgot. Everybody forgets. Everybody forgets.
Yeah.
It all goes, you forget, but it was.
And in my family, my family kind of freaked out. And my husband always worked at home. My son was a senior in college. My daughter was a senior in high school. And I'm sure it was really hard
both
for
kids
the kids.
graduated 2020.
It's
college
really
and high
hard.
school.
And it was so hard.
No
for them, right?
graduations.
So what we did at Magnolia was all my friends, everybody was lamenting, like these kids are missing their graduation moment. And I said, well, let's celebrate them. And so we did this campaign that if you came to the store and you showed us either like in cap and gown or your diploma or something, and it could be from preschool, kindergarten, fifth grade, whatever graduation you had, just show us something. And you got either a 6-pack of cupcakes or a 12-pack of minis, whichever the parents wanted. And we put all these things on our windows about how we celebrate you, so that we wanted kids to know that no matter what age you are, you're graduating from something. We want to make sure that we're celebrating this moment for you because it's huge. So, and that was the press that we got.
My daughter graduated college, didn't walk the stage.
Same here. They didn't get their spring break.
Nothing. She just came home. We had a party on the front lawn.
So what happened in my family, they all freaked out. Now they're all at home together. They're ready to kill each other, the 3 of them. And I'm going to the office every day by myself.
Yeah.
Someone had to be there. So we rented a house upstate New York. 3 of them move upstate, and I'm by myself in the city working, and then I go up on the weekends to work up there. But I'm in the city, in the office by myself. Someone had to get the mail, pay the bills, sign the checks. So everyone else is out of the office. We had weekly meetings multiple times a week. Had a fairly good-sized team. We were about 20 people at the time. Like, where should we be? How should we do this? Where do we go? When do we go? And we're building 2 new stores and designing 2 new stores and closing down stores. And it's just...
Yeah, insane.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how I survived.
It
quite
prepares,
frankly.
but it prepares you for any, like, then things occur in the future and you go, yeah, we'll be all right. We'll figure it out.
Well, you know, I had my business It's a Wrap during 9/11, and I had 2 locations, and I was pregnant with my daughter. She was born in February, so I was showing already. And my husband kind of had like a freak out moment, like, oh my God, we have to go back to Ohio. We're leaving New York. I was like, no, we're not. I employ 50 people.
Yeah.
These are 50 people who are supporting their families. And our customers need to know that there's a place that they can still get their favorite things.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt about Magnolia too. It's like, no, we're not abandoning ship. We are going to be strong and we're going to be here for each other. We're going to take care of each other. I can't be the weak one. I'm
No,
the
you got
CEO.
to set the example.
Yeah, I'm the CEO at the time. It's like I got to make sure that that no one ever sees a weakness in me.
Yeah, we stay calm.
I got to talk to every landlord. I got to talk to every vendor.
You get comfortable sitting in the dumpster while it's on fire.
That's such a great line. Yes.
Yeah. The dumpster is fully engulfed in flames, and I'm good. I'm okay. I've been through so many things that you just go,
yep,
it's gonna be okay. We'll figure it out.
It's gonna be okay.
We'll make the proper phone calls. We'll take the proper But when you're young, and it happens for the first couple of times, there is no answer. You don't know what's going to happen. You want to tie the cinder block around your ankle and drive to the bridge. But Bobbie Lloyd, so let's take a look. Hold this book up, Bobbie. Tell me what this is, please.
This is my second book. So I like to call my books handbook. So it's the Magnolia Bakery Handbook, Volume 2.
Gotcha. And where does the origin of that come from?
I like the idea that the first book was the handbook. It's recipes for the home baker, 150 recipes in the first book. And I like the idea of a handbook because it's all about education. It's meant to be a very accessible book.
Got it.
So that you can think of it as a set of instructions, like a handbook would be. It's a set of instructions on how to do it. So every recipe is written very thorough so that you know exactly every step to follow as you go through the book.
I'm not surprised, Bobbie.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And this is very near and the content is very near and dear to your heart.
It is. There's a lot of recipes in here that are from family. In my first book, there's
I might
recipes.
start an Instagram, and I'll go through each one and I'll make it and I'll post it.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, there's one in here that's called the Fully Loaded. And the Fully Loaded is named for my dad. So my dad, who died of a massive heart attack, he always said that his veins ran with ice cream. And they did. My dad ate ice cream every single day. So when he was younger, and I remember I was like a young teenager, he would want to lose 10, 20 pounds.
Right.
So he would go on a diet.
And just not eat ice cream?
No, he'd say, the only thing I can't give up is ice cream. So that would be the only thing he would eat.
Oh.
One bowl a day.
He should have.
It was like the Atkins diet. He would get rid of everything else.
Breyer should have made him the spokesperson.
And so the Fully Loaded is named for my dad.
That's spectacular.
So the Fully Loaded, it's not ice cream, but it's whipped cream and cream cheese.
Yeah.
But it's like everything that was in, my dad would make Fully Loaded ice cream bowl. Cashews, a little bit of cookies, whatever. He'd throw everything on it. It wasn't diet.
Yeah.
But for a man that was 200 pounds, like, you know, what, you have one bowl of ice cream a day? What is it, 1,000 calories?
You got to have something.
He'd lose 10 pounds in a week. He'd gain it all back.
He could have been an Instagram star, right? If he started a page now, the ice cream diet, people would be following him like crazy. This is available everywhere, Amazon.
Everywhere books are sold.
Barnes & Noble, everywhere.
Like, even at Magnolia Bakery. So.
Bobbie Lloyd, I end every episode the same way with every guest. This podcast today almost quit. It's about people that have been through some stuff, came out the other side, and have got through it. Whatever, personal life, business, relationship, kids, stuff. My question to everybody is, we spoke about business a lot. I'm not looking for a 5-year plan, an 18-month plan, not what your 6. On the day you don't feel like you could get to tomorrow, when Bobbie Lloyd is going through it personally, professionally, what is your one-day plan? What works for you that you do, and you just need to get to tomorrow morning, and then you'll figure it out? What's the one-day plan?
You know, that's a hard one to answer, but I will tell you, like, who Bobbie Lloyd is. I've been a runner my entire life, and I've run a bunch of marathons and half marathons. And when you run a marathon, it's about the process
Mm-hmm.
from beginning to end. You can't look at each mile. You have to look, well, you have to look at each mile. So it's not, you don't go, oh my God, 26.2. It's, I'm at mile 10, I'm good. I'm at mile 15, I'm good. I'm at mile 20.
Do you use running as therapeutic?
Absolutely, 100%.
You're able to get in that there's a cadence and a rhythm.
I don't even listen to music when I run
Really,
because I
listen to
want my brain to just free throw, I guess, or free thought.
Going
process.
into the run and the anxious or your adrenaline, you find when you're done, you're clean.
Calm and clean.
Yeah.
And I garden a lot now too. So it's those things that I know are my tools to put my head in the space where I need to. I used to say, and I still say, that I solve the world's problems when I run.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially not listening to music, because it just lets your brain go everywhere. All thoughts will pop in and pop out all over the place. And then you're done with the run and you're like, oh, I'm going to write a cookbook.
Well, there must be something about it because the millions and millions of people that are addicted to running, it has to provide some sort of it. But Bobbie, I appreciate you. From the first day we met till today, you have been nothing but helpful, a friend, a real friend, a true friend. And I am so glad we got to sit down today.
My first thing I said when we started this was, I'm a fan.
Well,
I've always said you have so much talent, and I was bummed to see you get booted off the show.
No, that's all right. I'm the winner, though.
And you are the winner in the end.
If you look now, I use that as getting voted off was such fuel for me. I'm going to show these bastards.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you. I love you so much. Thank you for coming down. And I can't wait to watch this back because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. But thank you so much, Bobbie.
My pleasure. It was really fun.